Futures back to the upside here this morning as we get going on a Friday morning as we head towards the end of what's been a pretty eventful week here. S&P 500 noteworthy, on track for its best week since November. So there's that, even with yesterday's sell-off. A couple of interesting movers this morning. Here's Netflix, one of them. Back to the upside, about 0.5% right now. Positive note on Netflix around the sporting side and some of the individual events, sporting events, going to bring a big sub number. We get Netflix earnings next week, by the way, along with a whole bunch of other individual names set to report. Banks back on watch here this morning. Big tech right across the board, pretty interesting here as we head back to the upside. No real significant numbers. There were a couple of things I'll get to in a second here, but there's NVIDIA, 1.3% right now, 1% for Apple after an ugly day. Individual note there for Apple this morning. We did get building permits there at 8:30. For December, 1.483 million. Housing starts, 1.49 million for the month of December. A couple other things coming through at 9:15 on the manufacturing side of things, but that's going to be about it. Lots to discuss. Nosboss is going to come through here in a couple of minutes. He has some interesting ideas going into the next couple of weeks here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I hope he's going to talk about crypto, because we're back above 100,000, Brendo.
I think he wants to talk more in general about bull markets and the theme. But yeah, I mean, what a move here.
I'm just being facetious because Donald Trump.
Should be.
I know, right? Coming out overnight, Donald Trump is planning an executive order to declare cryptocurrency a national priority. Oh, baby. The order will encourage government agencies to engage with the growing cryptocurrency agency, obviously, and add that strategic reserve. We've been all talking about Apple, to build on your point, getting shellacked yesterday. One of the worst days it's had this year since August 5th, since Black Monday. But a couple of headlines today should be interesting on it as well. JD.com getting a boost up here, up over 5%.
Finally, a little bit of positivity for a Chinese name. Here's Bitcoin, meanwhile, as you were mentioning, testing this high right now from early on in the month. 102.6 coming into play right now on that note. Speaking of Trump and the inauguration coming up on Monday, lots on the TikTok side yesterday, kind of back and forth. First, they were going to ban it, and then it wasn't, then it was again, and now it looks like it's going to be anywhere from a 30 to 90-day delay in the enforcement of this decision. So regardless, I think, of what happens now over the weekend, a lot of people were concerned that, Sunday was just going to get shut off in the U.S., but it looks like it's going to be 3 months now at the most before they get any kind of action.
And we were talking about this on the Midday show yesterday. It was chaotic because Oracle all of a sudden got involved because they host TikTok's U.S. operations, and it was questioned whether or not they were going to continue to operate after Sunday or whether they would be in breach. And then we heard, possibly they would want to move the servers over to China, but that would cause latency issues. So Donald Trump coming in there with that executive order. I still don't understand it personally, though, how he's able to, vis-a-vis an executive order, overrule a legislation passed from Congress. So
I was reading about that last night a little bit, and I don't think it's that he's overruling it. He has the ability to delay the enforcement of it for further investigation or something to that effect. So we'll just get that time buffer. Here's Tesla as well, 1.3%, just taking out the highs here, popping up in front of me. Lots to discuss this morning, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. Bitcoin over 102. I heard Michael Noss's name, and I double-checked to see what Fartcoin is at, and unfortunately it wasn't really doing a heck of a lot, but it's hard not to be excited. It's such a good start to the day that Intel's up 5%. But I think we'll talk a little bit more about Bitcoin. Finally, I'm still looking at Fartcoin. There's Fartcoin there, but finally we do some damage above this 102 area on BTC. You slap the daily chart up, and what we've been dealing with on this thing has just been resistance at this 102. They always change. The scaling is never what I log. I don't even log out of this. I just leave it up, and the scaling always changes itself. No, but the 102 has been a bit of a problem. We're right up there looking for a potential breakout in Bitcoin. You got MSTR moving, even Mara's going. It's a lot to watch. Tesla's up 1.5 points. Nvidia's up 1.5 points. At least if I can trust some of these close prices. But it looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty solid rebound. Of course, not a great day for Apple yesterday, but things looking much better across the board. MSTR 5% as well. So so far so good. It's looking like a very green Friday. Last day of trade before the inauguration.
Right, exactly. And we're off on Monday. So that's going to be another thing. Like, so if there are any plays or anything that you're thinking about, you got to make them now. Again, the TikTok stuff will be interesting. We'll get some push through on that. 420 right now for Tesla. Tesla's up 1.4%. Really starting to go. So it's a nice move. Good day for Tesla. Wow. I mean, what a week for Tesla. Tesla was just at 380s, big bump up, starting to go south side, now back up now. NVIDIA 135. I mean, the names seem to be going. There's other names, the quantum names, some of them a little weaker there today as well, but we'll have to look at that. There's NVIDIA 1.41. I have the Qs over here right now up 1.16. Things are looking good. What's that Roblox doing? RBLX. Hold on a second here. No, okay, nothing. $65, $66, okay. Oh yeah, minus 100% on Roblox. Neil was talking about that.
So,
there are, I was going to say there are some quote issues based on the closing price.
Yeah,
so,
it's just on our.
Hopefully some of the alerts don't get too screwed.
Yeah, on our platform, there's about.
Roblox not up 100% or down 100%.
It's a couple dozen symbols that just have weird close price. I know for sure Reddit's one of them because I was looking at Reddit this morning and you pull it up and I'm like, okay, like oh no, this one got fixed. Okay, before I think they fixed this.
I think
yep,
as
they fixed
there's
it.
prints coming
as
in.
prints are coming through because before it was saying the close on Reddit was 170. So I'm like, why is Reddit up so much on my quote board? But it looks like that one is going to be fixed. But I mean, either way, the charts are going to speak for themselves, right? Like it's shaping up to be a good one. But as we mentioned, in Apple, get rid of some of the trend lines from yesterday. Apple, it's catching a bid, but it's barely putting in a dent to what this did yesterday. Like just the first hour of the day, you can see how clearly this was to the downside. Like eight straight dollars. With I think like 2 green candles on a 3-minute chart. It was absolutely wild. The 15 minutes just as crazy. So not everything looking as good. And I'll say this: I can watch SpaceX catch that rocket 1,000 times. 1,000 times. It's unfortunate what happened to the Capsule, and it sucks for everyone that had delayed flights as the debris came in. But that's why you got to do trial and error. It's so much fun to watch. I geeked out. I've probably seen that catch at least 30 times in the last maybe
12
hours.
We'll be able to show it.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And Tesla, not that it necessarily matters, but I mean Tesla's probably catching a bid regardless, and it doesn't move on that, but certainly a good look for sure. Watch out. The only thing that's weak right now, as you were saying, is the quantum name,
I'm looking at it right now. I don't know.
Yeah, like Rigetti's down 5%, but pretty much everything else is strong.
Yeah, we're going to look at Rigetti, $10. Again, we got it on our watch list. We're going to talk about that in a couple seconds as well. Quantum names all about. Earnings, JB Hunt yesterday, so nothing going too nuts there. But yeah, there goes Rigetti. Look, we had it yesterday pegged to that $10 mark. It nailed it twice. 2 days ago, then yesterday. So we're gonna try it again right there. I feel like losing that is a problem. So I want to hold it to like in this 950 area. And then if we lose 950, we could be back into the area where I think it's another buy again, down around $6. So we'll wait to see what happens with this quantum space. But yeah, some exciting stuff going on here right now. Some sort of you can look at this right now, an investor alert I see right here on FTAI. So we'll find out. Is that actually doing something right now? I just want, because it's something that we had talked about it. Okay, is it still halted, or I don't know, it's not really doing anything. All right, anyways, FTA. I just saw investor alert show up there on Bloomberg. I don't know, maybe nothing to do with anything, but what a name this FTAI stock has been. Up to 170 down there on a short seller report. So, okay, a couple days ago. All right, let's go back over to the desk and see what these guys are up to. Michael Noss coming soon.
Yeah, we're going to talk about bull markets with Mr. Noss, and he's going to make the case of why the third year is a little suspect.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get him on here in a couple minutes. A few other things moving around. Yeah, the guys were just mentioning here, Tesla. I mean, Elon with that, I'll grab the exact quote, but the rapid disassembly of the Starship. Sometimes you spend a lot just for entertainment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's too bad. I mean,
At least they caught it.
Yeah, I mean, the rocket.
The catch was great
still
again.
worked. Yeah, but what a. I mean, I guess it was chemicals and smoke and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was quite the show when
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
after the fact.
They had to issue the FAA had to issue a kind of a clearance area so no airplanes fly through the area and get hit with the debris.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
They'll get it right at some point. I was just looking at Boeing here. There was a note on Boeing as well. Pretty good day for them yesterday, to say the least. Back to the upside here through 170 right now, to the tune of 1%. They're going to continue testing of the 777X version of their wide-body planes. I mean, positive momentum for a stock that's just been absolutely destroyed over the past year.
It was a really good move since November, Brendo. We kind of took a bit of a pause the last few days. You want to say from the end of December onwards, kind of been consolidating. But yeah, it's going to be a good look. We'll have to wait and see exactly how they can execute. We've been listening to see exactly whether they can get the 777 production, or sorry, the 787 production again at their Northwest facility. So good look there with the new CEO. Trying to shore things up.
Yeah, and get it heading in the right direction. Speaking of, banks have had a really good week here. A number of analyst moves this morning coming off the back of earnings for the entire group. Morgan Stanley, one of those with a positive note this morning, 0.5% here after 2 days in a row straight to the upside. So worth watching some of these banks again today, guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, I shouldn't say all of them, but
BAC was down.
kind of
right?
all. Yeah,
a
it's
little bit yesterday.
you know, like even Steph Curry shoots 90%.
47,
Banks
50.
shoot 90% as well.
Yeah, that guy's 36 years old. I think he could play a few more seasons too.
The way he's going, why not? It's what's actually the most impressive thing about the recent GOATs, like these guys now, like LeBron, Steph, and KD, is just, maybe not as much health for KD, but like it's just how good they still are at an older age.
You know, the one thing I have, 100%. I mean, the thing about it was Jordan. So the thing about LeBron, we all like LeBron. There's no doubt about that. But he came right out of high school. Jordan played 3-4 years, won a college championship. I think it was like by the time Jordan was in his 15th year or something like that, he was 39 years old, or however old he was when he retired. And LeBron was 33. So it's like he had like 7 more years or something of good, and then still playing. These guys are in great shape. But you know what else kind of bugs me about this whole GOAT talk? Like you said, the most recent GOATs. I just like the greatest of all time should be one.
I know I usually don't do that.
No. It makes sense because
there's only one, and it's MJ. It's just like
every sport, though. It's like it always happens.
It's kind of like there's so many times like, well, we always want to anoint more than one thing. That's why people say like we want to have the Mag 7. Like Mag 7 is like in a year where Nvidia is part of the Mag 7 and destroys everybody else. All everyone talks is Mag 7, this Mag 7. I'm like, really? It can't just be all about it. It just can't beat Nvidia? Like, I don't know. But like if we're talking about banks, I'm eyeballing Morgan Stanley today because that's
that was a good.
You know, Morgan's pretty much gonna break, knock on wood, 52-week highs here. That's literally at 52-week highs as we speak. The thing about it is it doesn't do a lot of pre-market volume, so I think you got to be maybe patient off of the open. Like look at yesterday, and this is what Goldman did the same thing on their earnings. Shakeout morning, but once it established VWAP, then you were good to go. You know, so that's what Morgan did. I'm looking for the same thing today. Like, do your thing at the open, because it's always light volume, so it needs to figure itself out at the open. But once you establish VWAP, I'm looking long. And the reason I mentioned Goldman Sachs is it'll be 2 days before, so we'll ignore that day and kind of look at this. Like, it blew out the water at the open, and then it's when it's established has been a little bit more topsy-turvy at VWAP. But once it did establish it, you got the later run. So I'm just looking for a continuation play. And Morgan Stanley is the bank that I'm going to pick today for that. So go MS.
Yeah, I was going to say
not MS, but Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, the one name yesterday that was red, and I don't know, I feel like could bounce back a little bit here. We'd like to see this dip into the 50-period moving average, but Bank of America just not acting like the rest. So I don't know. I do feel like if we do run into this $48 mark. Let's just see if it wants to break it. It wicked higher there, came back in on algo trading. So we'll like the 48.05 there as the top on BAC. So that could be another one. JP Morgan, to me, set up the best into earnings because it bounced off. You can see that we talked about this even into earnings before. There was the move down into the 50 period, retraced back up, gave us another look here, was bouncing around, and you had some outs if it was gonna fail down at 230, but instead it goes the other way. And I just really like all the support here for JP Morgan, and now going higher and higher. I shake my head because it just goes back to that same thing. It's like we always talk about the tech names, but bank names pretty hot as well. We saw the communications was the best sector last year. And I mean, there's some names in that, obviously, that will work out, like Meta and other names, but there's the T-Mobiles, and there's a lot of different names here. And speaking of, looking at different sectors and finding, possibly names underneath the hood, we've had Michael on. He's given us many names. We talked about Dutch Bros. He talked about Mara back when it was $10. Like different ideas that can come and go by looking at different trends, nat gas, having different techniques about looking through ETFs. Michael always brings us some of that, and then days short float, days to cover, things like that he's talked about. So a lot of knowledge coming here from our next guest. So let's go back over to the desk and see what they're all about.
Yeah, really interesting points to make here as well. Let's bring them in whenever you can, Ramin, and we'll get through this because it's been a long time that we've been sitting here. Michael Noss, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
With everything just going up, and it just seems we do get pullbacks as we should in a healthy market every now and then, but it just seems to continue. I mean, here we are today, up already a full percent in the pre-market, but you want to make the case that year 3 of a bull market is not necessarily the same.
Yeah, I feel like I'm coming in and ruin everyone's party, but I think it's important to note it came from an awesome chart that I just want to show you guys, and we'll break down for a second here. A little bit of a shout out to the first chart, and the gentleman who made it was Todd Sowen, which is with Strategis. We just want to shout out if I take someone's chart. Awesome mind when it comes to ETFs and that type of thing. But what he's done here is he's broken down the kind of 3 stages of the average bull market. So all of this data goes back all the way till 1949, right? So the smooth line is the average return, right? So in the first little quadrant there, that's year 1 of a bull market on average, the smooth line. And then the choppier line is what we did in this first year of the bull market from October 2022 to 2023. So you can see we underperformed a little bit, but we did roughly what the average was. Last year, year 2 of a bull market, again, still nice upward sloping line. We really beat it in year 2 from October 23 to 24. And then year 3 of a bull market. And you can see this is where things start to get choppy and they start to get a little bit messy. And so far, we're kind of doing exactly what this is saying here. So it's kind of hard to see the choppy line, but from October 2024 till when he put this out just a couple days ago, you can see we've just been kind of chopping sideways. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about why this can happen and what we can potentially do about it. But just to show, again, being a little bit of a buzzkill for everyone, not saying that, hey, it's over, we're going to crash back down. You can just see year 3 is usually a consolidation year. To be honest, it's probably the best thing, right? You don't want to just rip every single year up and up and up. If we keep getting 20, 30% up years over and over and over again, that's not ideal, right? You want some sort of consolidation, but that can be challenging to some traders who only trade in a certain style. But let's just kind of talk a little bit about why this happens with my next chart here. We don't need to go too much about it. It's a bit cluttered, but the idea is that in different economic parts of the cycle, there's different sectors that are generally favored. If we're going to get a little bit of softer economic action, people are going to want to be in energy and staples and healthcare. If we're in full-on bull mode, we're going to want to be more in technology. So this is just kind of showing, I wouldn't take any trades off a chart like this, but just showing that in different economic cycles, we look at different things. The next chart, I think, is a little bit better. And this is what I think will cause this choppiness in the market. So this is the S&P 500, just broken down, nice pie chart based off the weights, based off how much is in each sector. You can see 26-ish% technology. It might actually be a little bit more from when I put this chart together. But let's just say a quarter of all of the S&P 500 is technology. And when we say technology, because we're talking about the largest companies, we're generally just talking about the Apples, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Nvidias. They're going to be a quarter of the entire quote unquote market that we see. And then all of these other little slivers are different sectors. But what if, for example, technology sells off a little bit or doesn't really move. But then something like energy, which is currently only like, I think 5% of the market, that ends up growing its share. So we have one of these sectors, these pies, getting a little bit smaller, and then we have other parts of the pie getting a little bit bigger. Well, if you're in the right sector, if you're in the right part of the market, that's fantastic for you. If you're just buying and holding the S&P 500 as a whole, if one of these segments is shrinking and the other segment is growing, then the market's just not going to move sideways, or it's not going to do anything. It's going to move sideways. And we've already seen some of that. That's why I picked on energy this year, where we have oil breaking out, we have natural gas. I'll try not to pat myself in the back too much, but natural gas doing phenomenal. We're having some of this energy move going on where technology hasn't really been doing much and it's been pulling back a little bit. The evidence that I think this may be happening right now is just kind of in these two charts. So the next chart I have is just the S&P 500 as of yesterday. You can see since October, just like that kind of chart was looking at, we haven't really moved. We've been stuck in this range. We were actually at the exact same price, roughly, we were right after the election. So we haven't moved at all, and we're kind of chopping sideways in the S&P 500. And I want to kind of note what happened over the last like 3 to 5 days on this chart. So just look at the very, very right-hand side of the chart and just look at these last couple of days. Up a little bit, but just butting up near all-time highs, nothing really crazy. And then let's go to the next chart. And the next chart is the RSP, or the equal weighted S&P 500. I talked about this a lot, but for those who haven't seen, it is essentially that same pie chart, or the same stocks from the pie chart I showed above, but all of the sectors are going to be kind of equally weighted or roughly equally weighted because all of the stocks are going to be equally weighted. So it's not going to be 25% technology. It's going to be roughly the same amount of technology as energy, the same amount of energy as industrials, and so on and so forth. This had a much bigger move. And yesterday, when the market was down a little bit, RSP was up. So we have this kind of divergence that's happening where the SPY, or what people look at as the market, may be in this sideways chop. And it would be, again, because we're going to have some sectors potentially rotating and some sectors rotating down. So what was working prior might not be working this time. So if you're looking at the overall market, you're going to see potentially sideways chop. These sectors may end up being the place that we go into. This is what I'm always looking for anyway, because as the founder of the CMT said, rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market. So we need to see it at some point. According to history, it looks like it might be year 3.
And as far as the overall move is concerned, if we even just go back to that, S&P chart, as you mentioned, it's not like we're falling off a cliff right now. We're still holding more or less the top end of the range and holding on to significant support levels. So if anyone, wants to see the market continue, a healthy consolidation is exactly what we need.
Yeah, and Brian Shannon, who you guys have on all the time, says it all the time. And it's one of, I call it Brian Shannonisms or Shannonisms, but it's the market either corrects through price or through time. And a lot of people out there, especially new to the market, says, okay, the market's going to go up. And when it's going to correct lower. Not necessarily the case. It can go up and then it can just correct sideways. Now, the problem and the reason that I kind of present this to people as an option, I think it's important, is because those are the markets that can get some people hurt, right? The people who are just saying, I am a large cap tech guy, and I'm just going to buy breakouts in large cap techs. And that's what I've done. You've been rewarded for years and years and years that worked. If you're not rewarded for a period of time, then that could be problematic. So it might be a little bit more, I'm going to buy the dip, I'm going to sell the rip type market. So when we get into these sideways chops, again, they're not necessarily bad things. It just means that we kind of have to adapt what we're doing. Maybe we're going to see energy take off. Maybe we need to start looking at different sectors, or maybe we just need to change the way we trade, where instead of buying breakouts, I'm buying support, that type of thing.
Yeah, great point. Absolutely. To see exactly the same thing happen over and over again in a sideways market is not even remotely close to a probability.
Yeah.
As far as an individual group maybe that's standing out to you now, I mean, you mentioned the RSP, the equal weighted side of things. You mentioned energy. Mm-hmm. Is there something that people might not necessarily be looking at yet that maybe has shown relative strength so far this year?
I'm looking at energy, like I said, but I'm also looking at financials. I wish I had the chart, but the regional banks look very, very interesting, where they've undercut a key support zone and then they've rallied through that zone as well. So the thing I like about the regional banks is that, at least under the last time that we had a Trump administration, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So undercut that support and then just been ripping. And I love to see that, because it means we've sucked in some bears. We've got some bulls that were stopped out of positions, and now we're doing well. This would bode well if we're going to have a strong, just overall financial sector, where essentially what we did is we had last time the XLF doing phenomenally with the big banks when we had a Trump administration, which we're getting again soon. Also, it's a kind of an interest rate play. You know, the big banks, the big guys, the large cap names, they don't really care what interest rates are, because they don't have a lot of debt. They have a lot of cash on hand. They don't really care about interest rates. Who cares about interest rates is the little guys. So small caps might be very interesting here if interest rates are going to lower. Also, KRE, which is regional banks, that is actually a large component of the small cap index. And those guys do very well when interest rates get lower, because we saw a lot of them explode when interest rates got higher. So if we're going to start getting lower interest rates, if they're going to start backing off a bit, again, that kind of rotation within sector, within market cap, all that kind of stuff. As you can tell, I'm super excited about it, because it gives me a lot of work to do looking at different charts.
I mean, inflation data earlier this week certainly backing up that argument. So great stuff as always, Michael Noss. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.
Yo, Michael.
Thank you very much, Michael. Although we might not be able to talk to Michael on Monday because the markets are closed. So.
Nice one.
No, I just want to make sure. Look, I actually forgot all about it. It wasn't. I was just mentioning the inauguration, and Sean was like, "Oh yeah, and remember Monday's a holiday." It's so easy to forget because at the end of the day, we've had so many holiday shortened weeks.
Yeah,
this is the final. We got a
week. We had last Thursday off. Was the we did the show and the markets were closed with the President Carter there. So,
but for everybody I know there's a lot of people asking questions about Intel. There is no actual offer or deal for Intel specifically. There's just a report that they could be an acquisition target. So this is that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I think everyone's reacting off of right now. Intel's up 8%. It's made a breakout. It's actually looking for a continuation. Let me just quickly go over 15 because it's $21. There you go. $21 was like a prior resistance high, so this is looking pretty strong. No idea who it could be. Obviously, this would have just happened. And this is not the first time that we've heard deal speculation for Intel. Remember, like there was the rumor that Qualcomm could be buying them, and that turned out to be a nothing burger, and the stock came back down. But once again, the chatter of an Intel takeover or buyout continues here. We'll keep our ear to the ground because if anything comes of it, this would be it's obviously a gigantic deal. Like if they ever announce a buyout of the stock, it's going to start doing hundreds of millions of shares for a day or two.
Oh yeah, so, that'll be ridiculous.
I'm more interested in who might be the buyer, because if there was a deal, if the acquirer gets a dump, any chip company big enough to buy them probably would present a value if they started to sell off after a deal was announced.
I don't even think their market cap is not even that huge anymore. What is their market cap right here? Here's Intel right now on Benzinga Pro. So okay, so 4 billion shares. So that's going to be pretty high. I have to find out where this market. Oh, there it is right here. Market cap 84 billion. So yeah, not huge. They can get swallowed up easily by somebody. So we'll see if that does happen. And I guess my kid wins again. So thankfully this time I was actually involved. So we bought Intel, and that's why I was like, what day was it? We bought Intel on our holiday day. So down into here, I think I was just looking. I said to Neil, why am I doing this? I'll just open up the broker and see where it was. I think it was like in and around $19.50 or so, little sub $20. But anyways, we'll see what happens. This is one of those shot in the dark plays where it's just been down for so long, and we'll get going on that one. Bless you. What we were talking about with the banks before, SoFi looks pretty good right now again here today, really gapping up off that $14 mark. I mean, you just sort of started to go, man. That's 5 straight days to the upside right now for SoFi. SoFi digging up now another %. We'll see where they come into play here again. And I just want to, I'm using this Benzinga platform more and more now. SoFi, I just wanted to look here to see, you go over here in the calendar and we can get to see when their earnings are. And there it is right there, Q4 confirmed for the 27th. So we'll get them in a couple weeks as well. So we'll wait to see what happens with SoFi coming through. But another great name that I know a lot of you are long, SoFi, and it looks like it's pretty strong right now. I don't have a very good price of SoFi. I think it's in the $11 or $12 mark, considering that this thing went all the way down to like, what, $5 or something? Here's a $7 mark. SoFi down here. Pretty good name to be long back summertime. But wow, what a good pickup those have been. Up to $17. We'll see if it breaks it. All right, look. Catalyst is what we're looking for, and no better place to look than the upgrades and downgrades.
B of A Securities, this is a $20 price target up from $12. You can read more about this upgrade in our watch list. Applied Materials here as well. We know they had a great day in sympathy yesterday with TSM earnings. Today having their own catalyst of a KeyBank Capital.
We're just going to come back to us for a second. There was a little bit of static going on. I think you guys could hear in Adara's mic there. So we'll definitely get that fixed for sure and go over the upgrades and downgrades. But
go ahead, yeah. I saw American Airlines.
I saw American Airlines. I saw AMAT on that list, which I think we're not surprised, right? Like I think you'll see upgrades on AMAT, LAM, ASML in the next couple of weeks, and this is all because of TSM, right? Like
LAM gets downgraded on Monday, Tuesday, upgraded on Friday. Like this is why you don't.
Let's go, Wolf Capital.
Never make long-term decisions. I would never make investment decisions on upgrades or downgrades. I think it's important for Catalyst for us, for day traders, because you want to have reasons why key levels are going to break, but you often have one person upgrading one day, the next day downgrading, and it can be a complete mess. Interesting to read the report and get an idea of what's on it, and if you believe in it, and especially if you're invested in it, it could be something. But
or if you can find a resource that, and I'm not saying I know of these because I don't really track analyst upgrades and downgrades, but find a resource that can show you, hey, in this sector, these guys are pretty good. And like they've got a track record of when they do their 12-month price targets or things like that they have a good track record on them. Because I'm sure there's analysts in individual sectors that have a good track record. And just find, like I don't know anything about Wolf. I found it hilarious that when they did their downgrade, you just pull up a chart of LAM, and it was literally at a spot where clearly someone was accumulating shares on the bid. It was obvious. Just look at the daily chart, and then they put a downgrade on. A day after, of course, we all saw what happened. Let's head back on up to the desk.
59.75, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES March contract, decidedly above that level already, taking out yesterday's high already. 60.22 is the overnight high. We're going to use 6,000 today as resistance. If we keep going, we're looking to that 50-point level. We're looking at 6,000 as support, 60.50 as resistance.
Lots to understand this morning as we get going. Make sure you jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. All you need is your email address, and then you get that for absolutely nothing. So go do that right now. It's free. Let's go to crypto because, I mean, this is a decent-sized move right now. I mean, this is just IBIT, but 2.3% to the upside ahead of what is to come on Monday. I mean, you were just mentioning you're going to be glued to the TV for the inauguration.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we'll get it immediately on Monday, but maybe we'll get some sort of headline Tuesday morning, possibly, when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, can't wait to find out exactly what's going on. But there's already some inklings of what is to be expected in that executive order. Brendo, he wants to use the executive order function, obviously, and it's going to encourage government agencies to engage with the growing cryptocurrency industry. Specifically, he wants federal agencies to direct federal agencies, I should say, to reassess their policies to digital assets, a potential halt of ongoing litigation by government agencies against crypto firms, and the establishment, this is the one that I want to hear about, the establishment of the National Bitcoin Reserve, aligning with a campaign promise. The executive order is not finalized, it should be noted, and it's undergoing changes before becoming public.
More than 100 I read yesterday. Lined up and ready to go for Monday, guys. Big move here for crypto today.
Yeah, finally. You know, you got that last wick underneath the 90,000 level. Where you had that semi-flush, like liquidation of whatever you want to call it underneath 90,000, and that's the most bullish reaction that we've seen in a little bit. I'm happy to see us get to 102.5. Next step is just break it out to get to the all-time high on Bitcoin. There's a few names worth watching. I don't think it's a surprise that MSTR should be on the radar. MicroStrategy at a local high of its own, 383. It's teetering right at it. This looks exactly like the all-time high right now on Morgan Stanley, where you just Sort of have to see it hold. I don't, like, obviously it's already broken, this 383. It's actually headed to 384. So I think leaning back into the notion of, look at it, can it hold on to VWAP to maintain trend? Does Bitcoin actually make the break of that high? Because if it doesn't, I don't feel that great. You're at a big resistance spot, so failing a high break, and when Bitcoin doesn't follow through at this 102, you don't want to get trapped. So I think this should be on the radar. I, of course, am also, you're 5 points up on Mara, and that resistance for 2 days is sitting way underneath. So you could pull back into 100K and still come right back into prior resistance on this at 18.6. So if we do get a dip, if we just go flying, then I want to try to join a trend in STR. But if we do get a dip and we hold 100K, Mara at this 18.6 is the one I'll be watching on any dip buys. Support to resistance or resistance to support, always kind of a first principle if we start gapping.
Yeah, man, the Qs just keep on going up 1.5% right now, really starting to rip up. I mean, it's being helped by Bitcoin for sure. I mean, we talked about sort of the relationship between the NASDAQ and crypto, and it's been huge for many years. There's IBIT right here on the sticky note, 57 to 58 area. Look, I'm not going to peg like a specific level. I just want to stay long, get long. Trump with news and catalyst, get long. Reading here, long Rivian, long Rigetti, long Tesla, long IBIT. It's all right there. Go find out why. But for me, I'm already bidding 58 bucks. So if it falls back into here, let's get some of it. If it breaks back down below 100, then we can reassess, sort of what we think at that time. But I'm willing to, layer into this trade. And if somehow for some reason, I feel a lot better about the space today than I did yesterday at 4 o'clock. So yeah, there's no reason for us to fade back into this area. So let's just buy these dips into here and see about sort of the momentum heading into what could be a monstrous year for crypto. We've been long this, we've been strong it, we've been buying some dips. We did talk about getting stopped out of some of that Doge, but since the last November, I mean, we've seen this move up since November. We had Chris Brecher on yesterday, talked about some names like the Qs, like everything like that, backfilling and gapping, filling this gap. That's not even close right now, not even close. Like this IBIT was $43. You're an absolute animal. And then just to talk about like upgrades and downgrades. We always talk about, I see these guys on the Midday show, they talk about Danny Ives, they talk about this guy's a genius, so on and so forth, right? This guy's been pumping Apple's tires this whole way, telling people it's the next greatest thing ever. So you're listening to an analyst that we all have obviously a lot of respect for. We were talking about goats and things like that. This guy's nailed a lot of tech names and absolutely was loving Apple up here north of 250. So, that's why I'm talking about there's going to be many pullbacks in big names. And you just have to make sure that you like the underlying story and stay away sometimes from some of the news that can come out on short-term basis. And Apple really right now is just getting absolutely clocked. I'm not buying anything down here of Apple anyways. I still think we want to wait to see what happens in the first couple weeks after inauguration. We could get a pullback. I'm just wondering if there's been obviously some, you see yesterday, today, this week, and it seems we're closed today. We already had a 2.4% move this week. It looks like we could get another one here today. That's a lot of excitement heading into this new presidency. So I don't know, we're getting really juiced up, but the thing that I'm most excited about, forget about the market, I really think crypto is going to be a thing. It's why we chose, by the way, Joe's working on, we're working on the spreadsheet. Coinbase, I know Brendan has Bitcoin, we have Coinbase. And we talked about this, man. I was thinking Coinbase could be hot because of the altcoins starting to pick up. But right now, man, everyone flood to your Coinbase accounts, because if you're buying some crypto, a lot of people dealing over here and they're catching those transaction fees, and they're just that first mover. Oh, and here we go as well. Tesla just took out 420. So this is absolutely insane. Google's starting to go. Google's 196 right now. I tweeted out earlier asking people what they're trading today. I just typed in meat. That's my guys over there. His stocks he has. What do you call those? Your meat is the acronym, MEET. Yeah, M-E.
Oh, that's what his
Yeah,
is?
Meta. What's the E? I put in Enbridge. Oh, Enbridge. Come on, my guy. Enbridge. Okay, this guy's too much.
You picked Enbridge just so you could have an acronym?
See, yes, this is how we're investing these days. I thought he was gonna maybe say Expedia or something, but you can see right here. Someone tweeted out at me. They said, and I responded. So I put out today here. What are we trading? My computer's really slow. I might have to look at this. I can't even move this up. Okay. My whole thing is messed up. Anyways, I said, what are we trading today? And it was down into here. What are we looking at? And then I'll shout you out. It was right here. Drucifer. What's up, Drucifer? Says, Joe Biden said he won't enforce TikTok ban, shorting Meta. And I said, danger. Be careful shorting Meta, man, because what's going on in the space right now with some of these tech names. You got to be real careful that this doesn't start to blast up. Remember, Zuckerberg, everybody, Sharif, everybody's going to be at this inauguration and very excited for it.
You going?
So me? No. I got a date with my wife. So.
Yeah, that's
I'm not going to that. But anyways, we'll watch out for Meta, just straight upside here this morning. So be careful with some of these names if you're short.
All right, let's go to Apple on a bounce here. Just taking out the highs, actually, 231 back to the upside after. I mean, you and I were talking about this early on this morning. There was no bid on this stock yesterday, just straight downside out of the gate.
It was really ugly,
Yeah.
really ugly. Bad day for my personal account. Let's talk about what happened, though. Well, you guys already know what happened. Let's talk about some new stuff here with Apple. So there's problems out of China now, specifically with allowing Apple to exit some of their talent and some of their machinery and everything else to India. We all know that Apple wanted to kind of decouple or not rely as much on China and rely some with a more friendshoring with India. So it looks as if this is being really kind of prohibited by China, not allowing them to move some of their goods and some of their talent. Also, temporary suspension right now of AI summaries with Apple Intelligence. So Apple paused AI-generated news summaries for the beta software users due to challenges in its AI technology. I'll give you examples, some of the errors. It gave you a wrong headline on Louis Mangione, the individual with the United Health background. It also combined notifications to claim Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had been arrested, which we know is not accurate. It also incorrectly stated the outcomes of certain sports matches, Brendo. So looks like they're going through some growing pains with Apple Intelligence, in addition to it already being released on a piecemeal basis and not really impressing everybody.
I'm yet to see a positive review of that product yet. Meanwhile, if you zoom out on the chart, you can see why we're bouncing, or part of the reason why we're bouncing. I mean, right into all of this chop, going back to summer, really, of last year. So decent support, guys, in this area for Apple.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. Like, everybody has had growing pains with this AI stuff. So it would be weird if they didn't. That said, I think we're actually headed for the 200 period moving average. We were saying that yesterday, just technically how it's gone here. So somewhere in the maybe it doesn't get to 217, but like maybe somewhere in the low 220s, I think is reasonable in a short-term basis, at least before they report their earnings. I can see that as being possible. Today just smells like a bit of a relief rally kind of day. I'm very skeptical that you can fill in this gap. It's way too big. Like, yeah, I think you can get from here, 231, somewhere into that 35 range. And I just go back to like where it tried to check up a couple of times in here was that first green candle on the 3-minute. Like this moment where anybody looking for revision, like right in there is where you were looking for the first time to go long. And I know, and then again it happened at 232, which could be a bit of a thing. I feel like if we break out, I like other stocks long today, but if I look up and this is carrying back through to this 235 area, it's a ways away, but remembering when it tried to bounce and then the selling coming right back in at that even dollar, I think that's an obvious mean revert on Apple. I cannot see them closing in the whole gap. And there's so many things that I can believe in as bullish today, rather than trying to, weasel into Apple. So I think short term, you might get a bit of a relief rally today, but if we get anywhere near the next, that 235 level, I'd be looking to be a seller on Apple at that particular price. The desk?
Ramin is solo today. So it's all good. Here's JD.com on a daily chart. We're starting to curl back up. This looks like a Michael Noss special, actually. We should have asked him about this. Would that be a happy face, according to Michael Noss? Starting to form here on JD's chart. But here we are this morning, back to 37.30. Positive news coming out of China this morning.
Yeah, so Jefferies giving them the nod today. Analyst Jefferies Thomas Chong increased JD.com's price from $54 up to $60, maintaining that buy rating that he already had. His optimism is based on strong Q4 execution, post Double 11 sales event success, and the trade-in program benefits that JD.com is offering some of its Chinese clients. They've also achieved a 62% year-over-year returns on some of their investment. Their total revenue and non-GAAP earnings estimates were revised upwards lately, so good forward guidance there. And he's highlighting their strong execution and the potential for sustained growth in the very competitive, Brendo, Chinese e-commerce market.
Yeah, so not a lot of volume behind JD's move this morning. I was just reading a note from Morgan Stanley on Robinhood as well. It just popped up in front of me. It looks like it rejected this high for a third time here this morning at $48. So Morgan Stanley raising their price target this morning on Hood.
So think about all of these Chinese names. I mean, not all of them, but especially one like JD right now. It looks like it's trying to break out. And I mean, I think if you're going to follow anything, you know, nice hold of the 200 period, breaking above the 50 period right here on that news. Looks like you're going to have some problems maybe around $41 and change if you get up to there. You looked at maybe empty out some of your position if you're holding some bags on this into $40 or so. And I think JD's actually done quite well. I mean, there's been other Chinese names that had a huge move up, like similar to this, that are still down near the bottom, like in Alibaba. And if you want to play sort of the move, and I think there's going to be something about this, you know, just hearing about how negative like the Biden administration was to big business and sort of all of that and some of the restrictions that they put on in the chip space and whatnot for China and just the tariffs that have been talked about being possibly put on or not, better tariffs than expected for China, potentially at only 10%, or Trump said that was a starting point. Who knows what's going to happen? I just wonder if there's something in just maybe sitting in an FXI. So this is the ETF, or if you want to get, let me look to see what KWeb, because this is still underneath the 50 period. KWeb is the ETF for, KWeb, the ETF, KWeb there, China Internet Shares. So we can have a quick look to see if this is any better as we get the JD bump today. So actually, yeah, probably even worse, below the 50 period moving average. And where is the 200 on this name? I think I like the, I don't even know where it is, but I like the look of FXI a little bit better. Yeah, so there you go. So still underneath. Yeah, FXI right now. I like that. If you're going to look at a bigger name, often we get questions about Alibaba. I think we could also look at NIO. NIO bounced off what, that $4 mark was it, or was it $3 for NIO? My chart's not loading on NIO either. We probably haven't bad NIO chart, I would bet, today as well. But this is what I mean about Alibaba. Like JD is breaking out like through these kind of levels here, 92, which would be that $40, $45 mark. We're still well under on Alibaba. And I thought this was supposed to be one of the better, you know, Chinese names to own. So I would watch out for Alibaba and some of these names. I want to basically fade all the pumps in China, but I think there's room to run on the upside. Let me just check out NIO. Was I right about that one? $4 NIO. Sorry. Yeah, down minus 100%. Yeah, there we go.
I'm just gonna report that because the NIO quote doesn't look right. But Alibaba, like that's the one I'm watching. If we're fading any kind of pops, it's crazy that you're getting that kind of a bounce, and this is not even above that 200 period. Suddenly, that looks like temporary resistance at 84 on BABA. There's so many things we can be bullish on here. So I don't know. Like the 84 looks like a bit of a level you could gap up. JD does look stronger, but I do not trust those gaps higher. I'm gonna try and stay away. I think Intel is gonna do so much volume today. Between that, I think Tesla, Palantir, we haven't even talked about Palantir. The 70 level has looked pretty good. I think we should be watching that as it blew away from 70. It's at 71 right now.
Booyaka.
Like this, yeah, I just can't see myself trading JD.
All right. Rivian, we were just talking about the autonomous angle here.
Yes.
So, I mean, for some of these companies, it's going to be a tough road ahead. But this chart, I mean, looks pretty good. 13, a huge level here going back to August and September of last year was support. And then we get below that finally, held nicely here 3 times. Back to the upside 1.8%. There's why. More funding coming through.
$6.6 billion with the Department of Energy loan program there. It's going to support the new manufacturing facility out in Stanton Springs, North Georgia. The loan includes $6 billion in principal, then $600 million in capitalized interest. It's divided into 2 phases, though, so they're not going to get that money right away. $3.4 billion initially, Brendo, then $2.6 billion. Another headline, though, so that's the funding headline, more collaboration between Volkswagen and Rivian are coming up here. They're exploring a deeper collaboration to include sharing modules as well as bundling purchasing volume, which helps with economies of scale. The partnership initially valued at $5 billion, now valued at $5.8 billion. It gives them critical funding and it gives them access to supply chain to be able to scale the R2. And I think that that's genuinely what they need here.
You had a Rivian experience yesterday.
I did. My brother-in-law's brother-in-law. Yes, my brother-in-law's brother-in-law came over yesterday with a Rivian. I got to sit in it. It's a well-made vehicle, Brenda, but for my personal taste, I don't need a 3-row SUV. It's just way too big.
And it was the S, the R1S.
The R1S, yeah.
I see more of those lately than the truck.
Same with me.
They're still really nice though.
I don't think I think I've seen one of the trucks.
I've seen
I
just
see
one myself.
like it would be at least 20 or 30 to 1 for me. I have Rivian right here as a long, and it's coming into the levels right now at $14.50. I even have the break at $15. I have it as one of the top plays that are on new loan agreement. I mean, we talked about, Sharif just sort of talked about the story, so let's look at the chart. Yeah, so I just looked at this as the top $14.90. Now that I see that we faded back out, I think we might change that 15 break into $14.90 because if it's going to break 15, you know, $14.90 should be fine also. So if I like this move, I think we like the move. So let's probably, I mean, I will change it, I think, to $14.90 break on that. Maybe not as many shares. We'll take some here and then maybe some at 15. That's probably what we'll wind up doing. So let's look at that again. But hey, I like the name. I like what it's doing here. This is the 50-period moving average. It's trying to ride it up. The trend is definitely your friend right here. There's room to go up here. It's not like it hasn't been, you know, into $16, $17, $18 before. And with Tesla bumping up now, the market's trying to go. Perfect. The market's continuously going higher here. We saw Polestar yesterday hold some of those levels. It looks like Rivian continuously moving to the north side, and I like the trade. There would be my out, the 200 period or so, $14.25. But you do have that $14 bottom. So if you like the stock, I'd say like the stock. So for me, let's buy it all the way down into $14. So not only are we bidding $14.50 right there, but we'll also try in the 200 period in and around 14. So that's sort of my little take there on Rivian. And we can't, is Tesla? No, Tesla's not on there. We're almost done, by the way. Got to go to Quantum after this.
Goodness.
But Tesla, again, another name that's here. Did I write it on here? Yeah, I did. So I wrote down, and again, we write these things down, obviously, and then we talk about them an hour later. So, you know, I wrote down 415 was going to be a good long, but at 8 o'clock, for some reason, we were there. And then we were not. And now we're up to 420 and change and continuously going higher and higher and higher off of a nice barcode level here. So yeah, dips down into 418, 417-ish area again for Tesla. We'll see if we can hit it today. Yesterday was a little tricky getting back in and out of that name, but I think Tesla today has a good chance to hold this high, especially with the NASDAQ blasting.
Yeah, I like the chart on Rivian. No question about it holding that 13 area, so I'm happy about that in the long term. I'm leaning towards, and well, I mean, not just leaning towards, I'm looking at Palantir, as I was just saying, so when we talked about JD. So this is the name that I think off the open instead of Rivian. Well, yeah, we're not looking at it. We don't have it on our daily chart since the New York to NASDAQ change. But Palantir, simple over-under at 70, and it's got a top rate going as well. So like Sean just said, when you sit down, like it's at 70 when you sit down and this stuff, but now, obviously, we made a bit of a move there. So if we lose the 70 level, I think you've got a pretty decent gap. Like it's a $1 gap to where we closed yesterday. So I think, obviously, do not want to be fighting it if it loses $70. We want to try to buy the dip at the 70 level. If it ends up at this point, like when you're sitting down here, you're thinking long off 70. You're not thinking a breakout 2% higher. and all of a sudden now you have to consider that as the first opportunity to trade in Palantir. But ideally, I want the dip buy at 71st.
End of the week for some of these quantum stocks. 5.5% here for RGTI right now. This was Jim Cramer coming out on X apparently yesterday talking about these valuations, purely valuation comment, being completely, quote unquote, divorced from reality in some of these stocks. Doesn't mean they can't move, but downside again today after a couple days higher.
Yeah, Brendo. And here is QUBT down 6 2/3 right now on the back of a short report from Capybara Research. They're making specific allegations here with respect to how the company is being operated. They're saying they're overstating their ties with NASA. They're fabricating revenues through related party transactions, non-arm's length transactions, and misrepresented its manufacturing facility as fully operational foundry, which Capybara claims is merely a small R&D lab. So here is the deal right now. We're at that 10-17 area. It was a bad couple of days for this after Jensen said quantum was a few decades out. Recovered a little bit yesterday. Down we go again.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a choppy couple of days here, back and forth really, guys, but we are still holding on to $10 at least here for Rigetti.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the quantum QUBT. Oh wow! This. Sorry, I just saw on the X this because for some reason I looked to my right and just saw this from Bezos from yesterday because like I'm a space junkie. Like it's so cool. Shout out to Blue Origin and what they're able to accomplish. Shout out to SpaceX, what they're able to accomplish. As a nerd, I'm all for it. But I think looking for shorts, and I just realized I probably have to pay for QUBT. They got the report. This seems weaker than Rigetti right now. And you've got this over-under potential at 10 on QUBT. Let me just double check because we might actually have this. No, we don't have locates. So I got to pay for locates in this. I paid for locates in Rigetti, but knowing that these guys have the short seller report, I think it gives you more levels to play off of. 11, 15, the 10 even level if we break down. So there's a level you can pop and fade. There's one that you can break down in. So I think it makes a little more sense with the weakness this is already displaying in QUBT.
Yeah, so on Rigetti, I have a buy down at $10. We talked about that over and over again. We talked about that yesterday. It held the day before. We didn't have it yesterday. We had it the day before. And we also had $8 the day before as well. So we really like this name. I think it's a good play here down into $10. If it breaks $9.50, I'm gone. So $10 to $9.50. I wrote it down here and I talked about it again on the note. Oh no, yeah, here it comes again. Wow. I thought it was one of the best risk to reward spots right here. Going long to 10, but down into 950. The upside's too big to ignore on Rigetti. I mean, if it gets going, we know where this can go. And, you know, breaking this $11.75, $12 area is definitely something that's in play right now today again. So this could be a play. I would almost wait for $12 and use $11.50 like as the top-ish, and then use that as our support once we get in. So I really think a $12 break and this name gets going. But you're down 5% today. So hard to get super excited about that break, but we'll see if it happens. Because it's down 5%, maybe it goes down 8%. And if it does happen, then we're sitting there at $10 with arms wide open. And then we'll wait for 50 cents after that. Not much else on here. NVIDIA comes with a big buy, not a big one, but near the top for over 400,000 shares. So that's starting to send this name a little bit parabolic off the open with that little bit of a candle up there. And it's not too huge. It's about 40 cents, but a nice upside move there happening on NVIDIA. And there we go again. Now NVIDIA is starting to go. Watch out for that break, 138.50 from yesterday morning. That still seems like a ways away, doesn't it? I mean, yesterday we opened up with such great hype and then whoops, to that downside there. So 137, yeah, I don't really see any key levels here, you know, for NVIDIA, to be honest with you. I thought wasn't yesterday more of an AMD kind of a day. We always look at both of these names. So there's NVIDIA now at the top. So NVIDIA gets more of a buy. So there we go, man. NVIDIA was just 300,000, now 700,000. Also helping the case right now for AMD going upside there, now north of 120. We talked about over-under numbers. NVIDIA is still going. That AMD now breaking through 120 might be something to look at as we look. Yeah, I mean, again, it's already, we would much rather look. It's at 121, but if we can get this back to 120, that's looking pretty good to me as well. So we have a lot to look at here off the open. So let's get ready to rock and roll, man. Amazon, I see people talking about. Google could break 2 bills. I mean, there's so much.
There's a lot to look at, and do not want to forget about Intel in this rumor. or this speculation. Let's just go with rumor, speculation. It doesn't really matter what you want to call it here.
How much is it up?
It's now at 8% to the upside. So obviously, I mean, it's pretty strong. It's holding on to VWAP and $21. $21 was a pretty solid prior high here on Intel on the 15 minutes. So that's the first place I'm looking. If it just holds the bid at VWAP off the open, I want to look for longs off VWAP. Just play the trend. If someone actually does make a bid for this, obviously keep your ears to the ground. I'm not expecting an announcement or anything, but let's just say if I was ever short a stock that had speculation like this, you want to make sure you're trading with a stop, because if there was something announced, you would see it just sort of spike instantaneously. Not that that's going to happen, but it's the last bell of the week before the holidays shorten next week. Let's get this party started. Dara in 2 and 1. Let's go. Yes.
There goes crypto 1027 right now, and we're open. I'm going to take Intel blasting through that high of 2160 if it does come into play there. It may not, so if it doesn't, then we don't have to worry about it. But I'll go long on Intel in case it gets a little excited there for INTC. We did want to look at Google again. I thought that has a chance there at 200. Looks like we're fading pretty good off of that potential opportunity. Now back down here for Google. So market open. We're watching the Qs. Our futures quote is not the greatest right now, so I'll update that in a couple minutes once it starts to open. So we're going to watch out here with the triple Qs trying to break a little lower right now. NASDAQ 21.6. That's a good level, man. 21.6. There's crypto. Nice open for them as well. Looks like it's holding.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going well. I mean, Intel is actually holding as well off of this 21 level, at least for now. Nothing crazy happening on Palantir. Palantir just bounced off of VWAP, so Palantir still looking relatively solid. I guess we're not going to get any dips into the 70 level. Might have to look at VWAP a little bit more. Shoot, Palantir might want to go here. The high yesterday is all the way up at like 71.40, just for an idea how much this might blast off. From that 76 level. Got to look at this VWAP the next time through. And then Morgan Stanley wanted it to open up and calm down. I'm having a quote issue on Morgan Stanley specifically, so I won't be trading it. I'm not seeing anything on MS. I'll have to wait till things settle down here on Morgan Stanley. But a couple of symbols that we're having weird quotes on. NEO was one of them. Now Morgan Stanley looks like for me too.
Yeah, so I'm into Rivian. We talked about that break there, so let's get something out if it gets up into 98, 99s, and there it goes. So our first trade of the day, Rivian. We said that we would take it if it broke 1490, so it just did it right now. We're going to sit at 98. There we go. We should be able to get something out. There it is. So we get a little piece out there ahead of $15. So we are actually very, very active right now, man. We're into Palantir as well. Palantir 770. I took the VWAP print that Neil was mentioning there, so we just got it right now. It does dip into 70.40. I'm not going to hold this past 70. If it breaks lower, then we are see ya on that one. And then we got into some Google right here. Just looking at it, looking like it wanted to break a little bit there on this play. So we'll take something out in the 20s. There it goes. So a nice little long play on Google off VWAP again. Just trying to play some of these dip buy opportunities here off the open. So we only took out 20% there on Google. Look, the market's pulling back into VWAP. So we're going to have to be very, very careful with trying to hold on to some of these longs. There goes Rivian finally. Let's go. Nice move on Rivian right now, guys. So we're here again. We just got some out at 04. Let's wait to see what happens. Long Google, long Palantir, and a big long here on Rivian.
Yeah, Palantir just came, well, you already mentioned,
Number
came
one
into
trade.
VWAP. It's coming back in. Let's see if it can get to that 71. It was a prior resistance level. Want to respect it. The other thing going, Mara just made a break of the high. So, yeah, you're not going to get much of a dip. We'll have to try to get in off of VWAP. We'll go with the same plan as Palantir. If we can get a dip back into VWAP, we'll go with that. So 70.60 is VWAP on Palantir. Just tagged 70.90. Coming right back in. So looking very strong. Man, Tesla 425.
Yeah, Betty.
Bye-bye. So Palantir might come in for VWAP again. I got half out on that push to 70.90. Let's see if it can hold a higher low. And then we should be able to go for a reload. All right, I still have no proper quote on Morgan Stanley. I might have to give up on trading that today, unfortunately. It sucks because I was like, kind of the one I wanted the most, but I don't have a proper quote on it, so can't do anything.
Isn't that crazy? Like we never talk, like Morgan Stanley maybe once or twice a year, and then the time you're looking at it won't go. I might have to even restart my internet because I was trying to show you guys. The number one trade on here was Rivian long at 1450. That was the bottom of the pre-market. Then we said maybe you have to take that 15 break, and there it goes. And then we adjusted it into, I can't even.
You know what?
I can't do anything with my
second.
PC right now, so I think I'm completely like. I'm completely AWOL here, I think. All right. We'll get this all figured out right now, what's going on. But all right, let's go back over to, if you're ready, Ramin, I just heard that call. Yeah, all right, let's go over to Adara.
Bumble here actually pushing lower, though they initially were trading higher this morning, basically announcing that Whitney Wolfe Herd, the company's founder and former CEO, will actually, former CEO will resume the role of former CEO now, effective mid-2025. So Bumble here announcing about an hour ago that Whitney Wolfe Herd will return to her role as CEO of BMBL. Guys, back to you.
Oh, Bumble, good. So short that immediately if she's back in charge. Okay, so right there, we got stopped out of Palantir through 70 there, but we rebought that trade. So it does go through back and forth. Like I said, I was having I still think I'm having some issues here with some things, but we're back into Palantir. I don't even know if we. Anyways, it is what it is. Rivian was a good trade there to the upside. Now it's fallen back a little bit, so we do get out of some Rivian. But for right now, I'm all about this Palantir trade, which continues to go now north side there off of $70. So I don't know. I might have to reboot everything here.
Yeah, it was the same thing here that I saw as well. Like Palantir, I was able to get some off that 70 bid, but for a while, I wasn't really getting the quote. It's going to end up bouncing off 70, which works out pretty decently. But just so you know, we got 70, 50, 60, got to 90, came out, and then got long again, which I should be taking something out here because it's now well back above VWAP. So we're going to get pretty fortunate because I got the long and was like, oh, there's no way it's at that price. And it was. So Palantir looking good. Tesla is gone. Tesla, $426 now on Tesla. And continuing to go absolutely nuts. There's a heck of a lot moving here. I'm going to take you back into Intel. It holds on to VWAP at 21, and now it's just holding 21.30. So I was trying to get some on the green candle, which is the bounce off VWAP. We'll try to get some again here on that bid. So I'm long just above 21. It did tag 30, but it's been running into trouble at the 21.30 level here, as you can see on Intel. So probably a good spot to be taking some profit out in front. I'll take a little bit more and then try to buy the dip again. I said Mara was breaking out, and there it goes. So, yeah, even Mara looks a little funky. But Mara holding on to VWAP. We'll look to see if it can pull back into VWAP and bounce this little dip here. So don't mind getting back into it. So far, so good on Palantir and Intel and Tesla. So far, wow, Tesla. Wow, Tesla is an absolute rocket ship. I haven't even looked at NVIDIA.
Did you see Rivian?
Yet, where's Rivian?
Rivian is an absolute face slapper right now as Rivian just goes up. Just because you were talking about Tesla, I mean, some of these names continue to go higher and higher and higher right now. So good trading here on Rivian as it takes out 15. We marked 1550 as a possible high. So that would be something there that we're trying to look at. And then as Neil mentioned, man, Palantir, here we go again on this name. We'll see if it can get a little bit higher. Google, we only put a starter position on it, and then we had that issue. So I'm going to get out of Google and wait for it to fall back in a little bit here. If the NASDAQ wants to hold, great. You can see we had some different wicks happening and different things. So we'll get out of Google. We're holding a very small piece. We actually maybe should get out of a little bit more. But Neil, it's Palantir that is absolutely starting to moon. This is a monster trade there for PLTR. Good look there by Neil. And we put some shares on, baby. So Palantir, it's starting to go back upside. Let's see if it can take out 71 and go over to Adara.
Keep an eye here on some of these Chinese ADRs, particularly JD and Alibaba having nice moves. We know JD already had a push up here in this price target increase this morning, but also we actually do have apparently Donald Trump announcing on social media that he's spoken to Xi Jinping of China, that is the chairman of China, saying that the call was, quote, a very good one for both China and the U.S. Amongst the issues discussed, apparently, we're balancing trade and TikTok as well as fentanyl. Regardless here, JD and Alibaba to the upside here, and keep an eye on some of these social media stocks as well with regards to that TikTok discussion. We know that's been on watch, guys. Back to you.
All right.
71 on Palantir now.
Let's go,
right to
baby.
The high. I'm going to get one more out, and then we hold for the break on Palantir. This one is rocketing to the upside like a Pete Alonso home run. Soon to be Toronto Blue Jay Pete Alonso, so I was told yesterday.
So let me ask you. So what kind of a default were you using there on Palantir? Was that a comfortable level, or was that something that
comfortable?
Comfortable. Okay, so not overweighted or anything like that. Just
quotes were.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I couldn't. I'll be I was looking at my quote, and the only thing I could go by was my time in sales as to where the price was.
Right, yeah,
At
exactly.
the open, on a lot of symbols. So it is what it is, and everything seems fine now that I look at it. And what I mean by that, for everybody, is when you pull up a level 2, if we can come here, like, yeah, just a lot of stuck quotes. I don't know why I have BBI up, and this is Palantir. They should both be the same thing. No, like, the price action was absolutely fine, so you can see what price it was, but if I was looking at the quote, it wasn't really giving me the right notion, but the price was always fine. So we're good to go on PLTR. Intel is starting to come back in, though. So Intel, it's all speculation. I just bought the dip again. We'll give it in. If it makes a break of the low, then I got to get out of this one. Remember, this happened with the Qualcomm news or speculation that it didn't end up holding up because there was no eventual deal. So this could easily happen here on Intel. But I don't mind it. The volume's fantastic, 33 million shares. We'll continue to hold on to this as long as it wants to go with the bid. Tesla's going absolutely nuts. Mara's starting to pull back for the first time for us here with Bitcoin at 1027. So Mara's into VWAP. Just want to see it hold VWAP, and then we can probably go zone here on MARA.
Yeah, get it, Sharif. All right, so we're going. She's playing some TikToks over there, I feel like. All right, we are right now, man, we are absolutely just banging this out right here on the bull for Palantir. I mean, again, my pick for 2025, Palantir, we talked about that. We were pretty passionate about it on the show last week, and you could see sort of what it's been doing there. 61 up to $71 right now for Palantir as we hold that smooth dollar right now on PLTR, and it's just Rip City. All right, Rivian still holding out. All right, Google's getting, okay, there's Google. So I am going to try this level here on Google now as we just hold a small piece. And again, we were in, we were out, but it is falling back into 194 here now for Google. So I'm going to take an opportunity here to put something on anyways in this area, 194 and change. If it falls back a little lower than where we are now, then we'll try it. We'll put a stop in at 193.99. If we break below, well, 193.89. If we break below the 194 level, that we'll get out immediately on Google as it fades it back in right into the 200 period moving average. And there it is again right now. We'll see where it goes, but a nice little upside move for now on Google. So let's take advantage of that. We just bought that dip right in front of you guys. So again, like, you know, look at the trades that we're putting on for you here again, and you know, there it goes. It's a nice little dip buy opportunity. It came in. This is exactly what we wanted from it. Waited for it to dip down a little bit. Got indicated, and there she blows. Good couple outs right there on $71. The boys are yelling about Intel.
Intel just bounced off VWAP and did the same thing again. So VWAP to 2130. Somebody's selling at 2130. So if you get long off VWAP, there's almost no point selling anything until it gets to 2120 to 2130. Like this range in here is where it's bouncing to every single time. So as long as it goes, hold on to some for a breakout, a potential breakout here on Intel, and then just try to ride the wave to the upside. Now, Bitcoin's still not doing a heck of a lot, but Tesla might have just given you an opportunity to bounce off VWAP there and might have missed that shot. Doesn't really matter. We'll still ride with the same two. I will note on Palantir that you're kind of like, you got to the high, you just wicked the high of the day, and then came right back in and underneath VWAP. And when that happens, here, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to take one more leg out there. Still going to have 20% on, but at this point, I don't usually like that. We'll still hold some for the high break, but in the higher context, like I see us failing that high break and underneath VWAP, and that can't be right. I'm just going to pull up the Qs. I don't trust that NQ chart. No, that is right. Yeah, the Qs, the NASDAQ just broke VWAP and has been kind of trending back in. So I think taking some profit there, again, makes some sense. You don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. And we just had a pretty heavy sell candle on the Qs.
Yeah, we are still, we didn't really do anything. We're going to wait to see what happens here. We'll get some more out on Palantir at 70.90 right now as that continues to go out. And then at the new high, well, not the new high of the day, we'll see this right now. Again, it will be a good trade for Rivian. As Rivian, and I rebooted some of my tabs here with the internet because it was not working out too well there on Google Chrome. But there it is right there. Nice move up there for Rivian, our number one trade of the day here, given to you by the sticky note. The sticky note, Trader TV Live, sticky note right there. Rivian long, 15 break, 14.50, any kind of dip buy opportunities into that. Rigetti, Tesla, iBit. We'll continue to look at that. But it's really, man, and that's why I was asking Neil, the number one, P&L wise will be Rivian, but P&L number two right there will be Palantir. There it goes, Neil, again. Now back into that dollar club. Let's keep offering out, man. Let's keep on getting some out here on Palantir. I think it's been another big, big day for us. We'll wait to see if Google wants to hold these levels. I don't know. We're buying some more right now. So there's the dip in for Google. Our average price now, 194.37. Can it work out for us? I don't know. The market right here is fading back out. So let's offer, where are we long at? 37s. Let's offer like some 50s right now. Try to get some good proper management, because if we're going to be getting out, if it breaks through these O's, we want to at least get something out for a little bit of profit. And then if it goes back up to the upside, we can work on this one-to-one. But more out right now coming on Palantir, as it is having a problem. I can't believe we're saying it's $71. That's great.
It's a good problem to be having.
Yeah.
I think the market's having a bigger problem than PLTR. What? Okay, I can take that earpiece. I was hearing myself in my ear, which is just, it's hell weird. So we just got to 21.5 there on Intel. It's really starting to blast. This is now the pre-market high, almost 10% up, as Intel is starting to lead the charge back in. Now 71's not as much of a problem, but it's starting to go. So you finally cleared out that 21.3 level, and now you're absolutely blasting. So a couple of points up here on Intel.
There's a problem with your mic. All right now Google's absolutely blasting off. It keeps on going. Nice upside move for Google as we go, man. Today is another one of these kind of a days, man. 3 for 3 over here. Neil crushing it on that side as well. Let's go over to Adara.
Keep an eye here.
That just broke my eardrum.
Oh, this one up here about 30% with a 7.5 million
Oh my goodness.
float. Receiving apparently official approval from the Ministry of Defense in Israel for the marketing of its Halo precision airdrop system. So keep an eye on PRZO, guys.
Oh man. All right. Chat is going off.
Talk.
Now. Okay, I don't even know what to do. Let us, Ramin, are we okay or? Okay, I'm okay. Neil, do not speak. Okay, so we'll just keep on going higher right now for Palantir and for Google. Google was a great little dip buy opportunity back in there, so let's take something out in the 60s. We'll get the mics figured out. We just don't want to be blasting through you guys again, man. So just be very, very careful with all of that, and we apologize for all of that, right? We don't want to ever go through those things with you, so we do apologize. We are undermanned today. We want to say a big thank you to Ramin for running that board. And, you know, sometimes it gets a little carried away. But as this has been happening, man, our net is now at the highest spot it's been at all day, because Palantir goes upside right now. Rivian goes bye-bye. I mean, this is Neil, this is going to be that trade, man. I mean, this is the one that, and we have to be proud of these things, because when we bring these to you, these are the ideas, and we can, Neil puts out a note too. We can go over and look at that in a minute too. You know, we put these things out. These are the levels that we take. It's the trades that we believe in. And then for me, again, on the ideas that I like, especially early on in the morning, we're gonna be putting up some shares. So these are trades that, if you're following me, you know, it's been a great little run. I hope you guys are starting to capture some of these profits as well on some of these names. So I'm going to get out. I marked down that Rivian's high, maybe 15.50. And we did talk there. I'll take some more out here. But I am happy with this kind of a return right now. There's 15.50 right there. If it continues to go higher, we'll wait on that. We do still have just under a third of Rivian left. And we have 20% of Palantir. And we have about 70% of Google. So let's see what happens here with Google. That's the one that I think, if the NASDAQ can bounce, we do get a little bit of love here for Google. So let's see if we can get back into the green zone here for Google. Still up 1%, but not doing what the market's doing. He still can't talk? All right. Send the paycheck this way. All right, no, that's fine. All right, so we'll, no, not your paycheck, Neil's paycheck. Send it over here. All right, so here we go. Palantir, Google, what else you guys want to look at right now? All right, Tesla. That doesn't matter. Yeah, you can if you have trades you want to look over.
I just want to make a quick, hopefully this works out a little bit better. Is that good? Yeah, hopefully this works out a little bit better. 21.5 on Intel, just tagged. Apologies, guys. If you saw me do this, I was hearing myself as loud as you guys heard it in my own ear. And it sounded like I blew my own ear. Like, it was bad. Like, my ear actually hurts. So I feel you guys. But Palantir, that one's looking okay, but pulling back into VWAP. Intel's pulling back into VWAP as well after it just rejected 21.5. So I'm looking for a catch off. If it does another bounce off VWAP, looking for the reload there. And then Palantir looks something like this, where it's still holding the 70 level, obviously, but now you failed to break again and are heading right back into the lows. I'm only holding the last 20%, so I'll look for another bounce off the 20 level. It might actually be time to look for some shorter ideas as well, but the Nasdaq's trying to bounce off VWAP. So for now, going to focus on the dip buys. Hopefully that made some sense, and we'll try to get this mic issue fixed.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, good. All right, I'm just adjusting my quote here on the cues to get rid of some of these down wicks. Soon we'll have the Nasdaq right here, right now. All right, let's just keep on looking, man. Thank you, Rook78. Yeah, send the paycheck that way. Hey, look, man, I mean, not only trying to get the trades going, but trying to have some fun with everybody here as well. I mean, you know, like I said, hopefully I'm here for the trades I'm showing you, and hopefully also for some good talk as we go as well. So, all right, here goes 49. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're working hard for you right now, getting the mics up and ready to go. So 3 for 3 right now, and pretty good. So let's just continue to move forward. What's going on in the chip space? I haven't traded any chips today. I know, obviously, we looked at Intel. That is for sure. Right now, AMD not doing, or NVIDIA not doing a whole heck of a lot right there, but we'll wait to see if it does break through this 137. That's not looking bad. I gotta get a different chart over here. Maybe I'll just put up the TQs because that NASDAQ chart has too many bad wicks on those Qs. So, all right, watching out for the TQs. Now, above VWAP, this will be triple the NASDAQ, so we'll be able to watch it to get a better idea of what exactly is happening right now in the market. So, all right, so far so good, man. Rivian holding. And again, the big trade of the day for me, Rivian for sure. Palantir will be there. And then Google, we're just trying to hold out on Google. I mean, keeps on bouncing off this level. Market has to go, or else this is in trouble right now. Also, Uber fell off $70, so that was another one.
Yeah, you got to watch out.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday, and it was like, we missed it. At high today, $69.50 in the pre-market. Nice drop down there for Uber. That could be another buy the dip situation. I'll probably buy some more Google now, though, against 194. It's just hovering down here. Worth a shot for 30 cents, I feel like.
Yeah, here comes Palantir. He's trying to hold on to this VWAP. I don't think we'll get 70 again on Palantir. I actually hope that we don't see 70. Again, initially held VWAP. You saw that play into the high of the day, and then it dipped into our 70 level. You just want to see it hold that higher low, and then we can get a go zone. It's only been 2 stocks for me. It's just Palantir here off the 70, and then Intel off of VWAP, which it's not quite getting to. But I don't want to ignore, hey, Bitcoin's still holding 102.5. And Mara has now double tapped 19, and there's it finally reclaiming VWAP here on Mara. So I'm going to take the shot here with the higher low in front of VWAP. You've got 19.2 as a local bottom here, and then we'll try to get the 19.3 long on MARA. If you're following along, obviously Bitcoin hasn't made a breakout of the high of the day, but still looking pretty good. I'm just going to pull up BTC and cross the old fingers there. BTC, back up a VWAP, looking like it's trying to break a little bit higher. We're still at 102.8 or so you haven't really reclaimed 103 or broken out the top, but you're certainly on your way. That's why I want to get the bids in now on MARA. So we'll make it a third stock we're trying to get into, but they're only longs for now. Intel's still wanting some more. At VWAP, we've only been buying in front of VWAP, and each time it's been getting there. So I want to play the patience game, see if we can't get the price that we want. It's Palantir, now heading back to 71 even.
Yeah.
That one's looking like it's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, right now, $1 in on Palantir. Right now, we really like that stock. We really like Google. I mean, Google was, honestly, this could be one of the biggest stocks. I mean, I thought Rivian was going to be one of the biggest stocks of the day. And again, we just, we'll talk about strategies and we'll actually put them on and show you profitable trades. Like right there, I just said the risk to reward here on buying this dip in Google was pretty strong. So we went in there and we went in with bigger shares, right? Because like if my stop is going to be 25 cents on this play, now we're in the money 50 cents. It's a 2-to-1 trade right there in the last 5 minutes. So, I mean, hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Like, subscribe. Hopefully I'm able to give you some decent buy opportunities and just short opportunities, and then just be able to, go through these trades and discuss them and really start to ring some registers. Like we said, it's been a really monstrous run in January. We've done really well here. We did really well in December. It's been just a good overall feel in the market, and especially for day trading. And we say that, sometimes I say there hasn't been a better time to day trade. I feel like that's been true over the last couple of years. So thank you for helping us grow from 0 to 500,000 subscribers. Make sure, you continue to hit the like and the subscribe all over the place and keep that love going. So there's a 2-to-1 trade on Google. We empty out some of the clip up there. It could still fade out, right? I mean, we're watching the TQs here and the NASDAQ just to see what's going on. Again, there's another bad wick up there. We got to be very, very careful watching out for some of these charts today. Even my E-signal chart wasn't working on Rivian and NIO. That's how I knew NIO was off. So you got to, some bad quotes coming from the market.
Sometimes you get actual market data stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like it was, for me, it was more New York than it was NASDAQ. Like with the exception of Palantir, most of the NASDAQ stocks were absolutely fine. But it was things like I couldn't even read Morgan Stanley at all. I couldn't read NIO. But there's a few other things that are going. We mentioned some of the Chinese ADRs. Alibaba doing this. Alibaba up 3% and still flying. Like that is, obviously it's having a pretty good day. Maybe you look back into a VWAP or something like that, but a bit of a missed opportunity. I like it for the long term, but I don't like the fact that it looked very sleepy and didn't seem like much of a trade. Still trying to grit Mara off of VWAP, just double checking Intel. There's that seller. Okay, the seller that was there at 2130 is kind of back already off of VWAP. So it did make the breakout, but now that selling that was there for like a half an hour going into the open and then right away at the open, it's kind of jumping right back into the 21.3. So we need to be convinced this is going to hold on to VWAP if there's going to be resistance at that particular price. So let's work on seeing a higher low there. And of course, Mara, the second you put the dip buy in, Bitcoin took 103.
Yeah.
So now above 103 for the first time, for the second time today, but for the first time in a while on Bitcoin. Still want to join this bid. I'll maybe step it up into the 40s, but if we're getting out underneath VWAP, I don't want to be like 1% away from the highs on MARA. Should I have to double check as well on MSTR? I think that could be, oddly enough, not as strong. Mara somehow is stronger right now than MSTR. I'll stick with Mara.
Is stronger. Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at I, but I actually...
Not usually. It usually isn't.
In resetting my system there, I realized I didn't have the Bitcoin quote back up to the bottom there. So there it is right now, 103.04. I'll work on getting the Ethereum one up in just a couple seconds. I am starting to empty out a little bit of the clip here on some of these names. So let's continue to watch it. We almost bought more Google down there. We didn't, but we'll put it back in the pocket now, back into 60s, into 70s, again, giving us that 2-to-1. We should have bought more there. I don't know. I was a little nervous about it. I don't really know why in hindsight, but that is what it is right there. So we'll still hold on to these 3 big trades so far there today. Let's have a quick look at the king here, Apple, and just have another. I said it would be an interesting day if we could hold 230 on Apple, and it's doing that right now, but what was bad yesterday, what was bad for the last 2 weeks or so, continues to not really perform that well as we see other names like a Google starting to bounce back upside, like a Palantir, like many names today starting to go back upside. Apple looks like it's trying to just hold on for dear life, to be honest with you. I'm actually more excited about a break of 229.70. I'm hella long. So right now, I'm not going to be looking short in Apple, but if the market does break, I'm thinking that that's a great level. And oh boy, here we go, man. Rivian, we just got out at 23. It wasn't that one. It's Palantir, actually, that's trying to hold 90s. We just keep on getting filled upside here on Palantir. And again, you're going to see different, right? And we talk about this all the time. I'll trade with more shares. All these outs out here are just me getting out. I appreciate the style. Neil's going to have great outs, and more patience. And I look back and say, that's something that I probably need to add to my repertoire as well. If I can just hold on to these shares for bigger moves and don't get so P&L hungry, then that would be a better benefit to me. So that's what I'm trying to do now with Google. And I think that's what we did with Palantir as well, trying to hold on to this. But at the same time, when we see stops and outs and tops, we have to respect that. So we're still trying to take it out. So I do have many trades on board today, over 70 fills right now, and just trading 3 names. But again, we look down, we know what we're doing. The net remains exactly where we need it to be. Right now, today, we're at 70% or so of day's goal. So most of the time, we're saying to you, we're there, but we're not there yet today. As again, we stumbled a little bit there early on Palantir. It's too bad that we did get that stop out right there when we broke 70 the first time. No, right there when we broke 70 the first time, because it just took off after that, and we were hesitant with some of those issues. So, all right, here comes Google right back in again. This is why we talk about taking profits, just as we were talking about the different styles and so on and so forth. There it comes. There's a nice out at 60s. Here comes Google falling right back in again. We'll try another long, but not until like 194, like 10-ish, almost the very bottom. We'll test it to see what winds up happening. And again, we just said, man, to each their own. Look at all these outs on Palantir, saving ourselves now 20, 30, 40 cents. So let's see what winds up happening. Google, we just got some more. Ikes.
I just took some more out on Intel when it just failed that 2130 level again. So this is like the third time that it's done this. Obviously, heading back into VWAP, we'll take a little bit of profit out. Can't really, I just got into Mara. I'm going to go over MS even if I can't trade it, because I think if anyone's looking at the bank stocks, that looks very, very interesting to me. Mara pulling back into VWAP. We bounced VWAP, great. If Bitcoin holds 103, I think that's going to give it some confluence. It is what it is, but like, yes. Oh, now it's starting to come back. My
Google went down
on MS, but Morgan Stanley held and bounced right off 135. The VWAP hold. I do like VWAP for the dip in Morgan, but unless the quotes, now they're starting to normalize. So if we pull back into VWAP on Morgan Stanley, I'll probably take a shot at it, but it's finally starting to look a little bit better for me. Tesla is still not much of anything. It's really just Mara into VWAP on this last dip. We'll see if we can't get back into that high of the day on MARA. First time we're in this. It's the first time we're in a trade other than Intel or Palantir this morning. Let's go to Adara. It is time for happening now.
After our first red day in 3 days, the market's trying to return to green. NASDAQ a little bit stronger here than the SPY, which is up about 0.7%. Though it's worth noting we do have some top and tail candles on this 15-minute chart for the S&P 500. We have also some bullishness on watch here ahead of the inauguration of Donald Trump on Monday. This is the last trading day before said inauguration. We had lots of economic data here this morning, all of it stronger than expected. So that is super significant. It was mostly housing and buildings data on watch. But let's talk here as well about some of these other tickers on watch. MSTR here near day's highs. Bitcoin reclaiming that $100,000 level quite decisively. We do know that Bitcoin is viewed as pretty much on a bullish trajectory with Donald Trump here because he is viewed, he called himself the crypto president and reportedly looking for an America First crypto strategy. Then we have JD. This is JD.com here, Chinese ADR. This is pretty much all buying this morning. This one has been on watch here along with some of these other Chinese ADRs as Donald Trump confirms that he has spoken to Xi Jinping of China, the chairman of China there. Last but not least, Intel on watch. There is some, and I would like to specify, very heavy speculation, nothing confirmed, that Intel could be an acquisition target here. That's reported by a firm called Semi-Accurate. So keep an eye here on INTC, though, making slightly lower highs this morning. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to you.
I like that that's called.
Yeah, I got to, because when that news story hit, I posted it in the chat because I think we had Michael Noss talking at the time.
Yeah.
And I posted it, I pasted it, and it said semi-accurate report stating, which obviously people interpreted as this is not an accurate report, but it was literally, they are called semi-accurate. Yeah. Which is exactly why it's much better when we can explain things to you live as opposed to just put it in a chat.
Yes, sir.
Because I felt bad because I reread it myself. I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculously confusing and kind of a stupid name for anybody to be when you're reporting news. But I guess they think they must. Well,
it's working. I mean, they're getting us talking about it, right? I mean,
well, yeah, they must think it's funny.
Right there, so.
But just going to go back over to Bitcoin for just a quick little second here. So the bounce just came to 19.5 on Mara, and then you look over at IBIT here, and you're still like, what's going on? You're at the highs and breaking out, right? And Mara is pulling back into VWAP, which usually means it's not giving me the strength that I want. And if we're pulling off of highs and Bitcoin's breaking highs, then no reload, and then just get on the offer in front of the high of the day. Still give it a chance, but that doesn't look like I want to get more shares of it. If Bitcoin's breaking out, and Mara is just pulling back off the highs into VWAP, then I got to be on a different vehicle for sure than MARA. So this has been, Palantir's just been weird off the 70-50 level. There's not much establishment over VWAP. It is a complete mess. these charts
Yeah,
on the pound chart, other than dipping into 70, but it's looking like it's finally forming a bid here at 70.5. So VWAP's looking a little bit more solid. I think now I want to be getting some fills, just maybe underneath VWAP here at like 70, 60, 70, 70 as Palantir. Still looking very good. I'm still holding on to 20%, but I've been looking for a place to add at VWAP. It might just be a little bit under VWAP where you take the fills. Let's go to Adara at the desk. Anywhere else?
Here, getting a nice little bounce. We have the Supreme Court ruling against TikTok's challenge to the law that would force the sale or the ban of the app in the U.S., which means that the TikTok ban is now officially moving forward. So META getting a bit of a bounce on this. Keep an eye on Snap here as well, SNAP. That means that there will be no sale. Or sorry, there will have to be for sale of TikTok there. And we are brought to you by Prop Firm Match. Are you a skilled trader but lacking capital? Prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, to allow you to showcase your skills, access account sizes ranging from 5K to 500K, and you could start with as little as 20 bucks. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in one place. So scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today to find the perfect prop firm for you. Back to you.
Yeah, good story there. I started to go short on Google, but now after that story, so we just got back and forth there. We were long Google into that 194. Remember, we were talking about it. It does break through 194, and then we got out of it. So and then we started to go short, and then now we just basically just flattened everything out here on Google. We were short, making some money, and then there's the break higher. With that kind of a news now, I actually like what we're talking about here on Google. I mean, we just held that little bottom. Let's try to go back in now and see if that story does catch some waves, because Google should be a big beneficiary of any TikTok ban. Like in my opinion, Meta's, we talk about Meta, but what the biggest one, I would say, Meta or Google, you could sort of argue back and forth for either one of those. So I'm a little bit perturbed that we got stopped out there. No, not much love for Snap, no. I'm a little bit upset that we got stopped out there. There must have been, just hit that move to the downside, and then that started me thinking about shorting, but that's okay. We'll still stay in that pocket. Nice move down there. We did buy some. Again, we are almost out of Rivian up there. We always talk about that, and especially coming into 10 o'clock, got to be careful, but it does dip into 1450, which was our level to buy again. So we said take the break of 1490, right, on our sticky note. So we do that. And then we said also play dip buys into 1450. So let's see if we can get it both ways right now on
have it your
let's see if we
way.
can have it both ways. Yeah, have it your way right now. There it is. So the Washington Post now, as Adara mentioned there, the story about this TikTok ban apparently going through. So yeah, as long as it remains state-owned by China, they're not going to let Americans give all their data
Probably
over
short
there,
Duolingo.
So, yeah, and that would be the other thing too, Duolingo, yeah.
No, seriously, Duolingo, because of that red something, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah, that'll probably get banned
red
too,
cat.
though. No, I don't know.
It was only in Mandarin, so a bunch of people were signing up on Duolingo to learn Mandarin, and Duolingo went 7% yesterday.
Isn't
so
that
what
how
did it do?
stupid people are so stupid.
And it dumped here today. It doesn't make it. That never actually.
No, but it's like, I'm going to educate myself finally about how to learn a second language so I could be on social media more.
Yeah, and don't just do it to do it, which
Right,
is a good thing.
do it to benefit your life.
I think Duolingo is amazing. My daughter's in French immersion. She loves. You have to pull away the tablet from her when she's on Duolingo to learn French. And then first year in French immersion, she wasn't really having it, and now she loves it, and it's a fantastic. My wife used it for when we went to Italy, because I'm useless when it comes to learning languages. I'm the first to admit it, but good stock. It was nonsense, the rally. I never thought that it made any sense sustaining. I'm into Snapchat. It's kind of like a red-green thing here. I heard the story from Adara. It popped. It came back in. 1122 is the prior close. Yeah, that's correct. And it's right here at VWAP, so I just took it long above. Prior bar wick is literally right here at 1115.
Oh, look at this Rivian.
Essentially just going to be bouncing off of this, looking for it to push back into the highs on Snapchat. Intel looking okay, and of course Mara, we just got into Mara, so that's the other long. That's now tracking back toward the high. So 4 longs now. We'll see about Snapchat, but all 3 so far so good, with Bitcoin at 104.
Yeah.
Oh, 1039.
Yeah, we had mentioned Bitcoin. I said that was probably the play there. You know, what we were most excited about today in that move up was Bitcoin. We are really happy to be long BTC. All right, there's Rivian. And I mean, what we talked about right there was the break, 14.50 long, watch out for the $15 break. So we have both of those trades and we adjusted the $15. This is why you got to join us every single day live here as we break down the trades that Neil and I like in the morning. We talked about 14.90 because the 15 was a good, hey look, if you had 15, you're still cash. I mean, it went all the way to 15.30, but there's the reload down there at 14.50 again. So go make sure you find that at Trader TV Show. I'm putting it out for free every single day. You can have it and see if it winds up working out for you. I hope it does, as it has. So, all right, so that's Rivian. The Google trade is still what it is, man. We were able to get some dip buys there. We're still long here at 55. I'm going to try to hold out against that bottom of the day for Google, which we have listed here as that's not right, 192.88. Okay, maybe in the pre-market. Of the open market, the low for Google. Let me see if I can just zoom in here. I'll probably get a good look on this wick right there. 193.80s. So we're going to hold this until Google breaks that low again. And I want to buy a little bit more on this. So we'll see what eventually winds up happening here with Google. But some more outs at 75 there on Rivian ahead of that 200 period. Hopefully we get some more outs there. We're sitting at 80 if that can come through. But a break below 14.50, we'll give it to like 14.45. And then we're going to be out of Rivian. There's no point in fighting this one as it really hasn't been. It had a great move early and we cash out on it. That's fine. We don't want to give it all back or anything like that. So let's not hold this name all the way down in case there is some more pullback in Rivian. I mean, only up 1.4%. Not great considering where it came from, RIVN. Palantir still holding fort. So I'm going to adjust my stop on Rivian and get that going. Because I did have it stop through 30s. But now that I see that there's not much bounce off that bottom, I think we're going to back away from Rivian here. I'll put the order in 14. Let's go 44. Let's go downside, 14.44. No reloads on this name, Rivian right now.
Speaking of that.
Holding up.
Yeah, speaking of adjusting stop.
Yeah.
I just realized I hadn't adjusted a stop on Palantir. Ooh. So going to go ahead and do that now because it's pulling underneath VWAP, and obviously 70 is a much bigger move to the downside than 70.5 is. So if we're going to look for a bounce off the 70.5, just going to adjust stop to under here and then look for an add as long as we get a bit of a bounce. We'll go 3 for 4 because we took the shot on Snapchat. Oh boy. There's a snap. No, there is no snap on CH, and I have to wait for that to load. So this is the best way to do it. We'll just put it up on the black chart. So Snapchat lost that prior bar low. That's where we stopped out. Even if it comes back in here, I need to see it sort of hold above VWAP if I want to take another swing at this. When you have a news-based play, ideally, if it's not making higher lows on the pullback, I don't think you want to be fighting it to, just let the price decide where we're going to go from there on on Snapchat. PLTR, like I said, moving the stop underneath that 70.5. Right. Mara, we did get the high of the day on Mara, and then it did it again, where it broke the high and then instantly wicked the top. So every time Mara breaks the high, it does like a big wick pulling back into VWAP. So it's just essentially rinsing everybody that tries the breakout trade and then pulls back in, and so far is giving you the VWAP dip. So if we get another bottoming tail candle, we'll get the reload here around 1935 to 1940 on MARA. It's not going to take any breakouts after seeing this happen multiple times. So Palantir's trying to hold. Still like to see it make the bounce and then the higher low off 70.50 to make sure that we're holding on to this level. Because the market, the NASDAQ's making a nice bounce, but I'd like to see Palantir join it too. You don't want the market bouncing and then the stock you're looking at is looking awfully weak. So here we go, just closed above. Now we'll go for the reload low 60s on PLTR.
All right, we, again, we'll face slap it out here on Google again. A big trade alert on Google now. It did go into the O's again. We got long at 194.30 there. 190, hold on, what price did we get long? Is that? Yeah, 194.31s on the log. So a nice little reload there of 30 cents. So again, good trading. Hopefully it continues to go upside here for Google. And we always talk about, style. Neil always says trade your style. And that's exactly what we're trying to do right now with Google. Getting more in, reloading it, putting it upside. And then at the end of the day, hoping to be green on everything. Rivian is another name. We just got some more out there at 63, 64. this name is going to fall out, and we're not going to be part of this name turning red for us. That's for sure. So nice moves upside there on Rivian. There it goes. There goes Bitcoin right now, 104. Like, what is even going on? I mean, I was waiting for some sort of a dip in IBIT, but that is not happening at all, as there goes Bitcoin straight up, like straight up. No, I have not seen Tesla, but I mean, I hope it's going higher right now.
Well,
Google, maybe it's not, because Rivian's not, but
$431.
Yeah, okay, so good.
Tesla is absolutely flying like a bat out of you-know-what.
Oh, Google, though.
Yeah, this is going absolutely nuts, but look, Intel's been good off of VWAP, but it is now, you get into a little bit of a trouble zone here. There's your lower highs, and suddenly, this is what it was doing on the original break in the pre-market. Absolute barcode action here on Intel. If we lose VWAP, I feel like this looks like a bit of a reversal play. Like, you pull this chart up here on a 15-minute, and it's not looking as bullish as before. I have not taken anything but the VWAP bounces early off the 21 area and then the 2090, but it's starting to look a little bit heavier than it did before. We could be on the other side of this trade for Intel. Palantir, bit of a different story. It's not, I mean, it's weird. I don't know what pattern I'm going to call this, but it's some kind of like a heartbeat action, like crazy wicks. 70.5 to 71.1. It just held the 70.5 again. So it took the first reload since that 70 fill, and we'll look to just play it into the 71. So looking for it to break back up, scalp some out into that 71 area, sort of anticipating that it's just going to do what it did before, and that is hold this range. If we break that prior low, then my average price now is actually 70.30. We break this prior low, I'm out underneath 70.40 and waiting for 70 even. So if we get out here, we still have some from 70, so average price is 70.30. I'm out if it breaks 70.40, as it just did there. So I guess we're headed back into 70 even on PLTR, which has been the gold price on Palantir. Like, when it gets to that level and goes, great. When it gets that level under, it's actually been a good short. So I'm going to just wait for this to get down to the 70 even. And we're still in Mara, we're still in Intel for now, as it's trying to hold on to VWAP. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yes, thank you so much, Rob, for the reload. I put in the chat, Brendan has all the details. So just tap your card and you'll get paid for that. All right, so there it goes right now. A nice move to the upside for Google. And I mean, again, buy this. We did go short there, so we'll have to put our hands up in the air there. But we were able to reverse that on that news. Thanks, brought to you from Adara, but good reporting on that one as Google and TikTok and whatnot start to figure out that little ban. Did you trade Snapchat? I heard you mention it down there to 11.
Yeah, one shot in.
Yeah, so not much. I just wanted to look at
long 23, out 14s or something like that.
Yeah, okay, so that's...
You know what? Snapchat might just stink.
I don't remember. You asked me about it. I said, nah, not Snapchat. So I wanted to go over into Meta, just a quick look. And again, a pullback in Meta as well. All right, this is making me think, like, how did we even pick the right one right now? So I'm going to offer out on more out right now. There we go. We just got filled at 80. Because these names really aren't flying around right now, I'm not going to be super excited. I thought maybe these names would go to the upside. We'll hold on to Google. It's really working out for us right now. Palantir working, Google working. And yeah, man, okay, here's Palantir. I know Neil just was looking at that as well. We'll wait for some VWAP situations up here to get some more out. We've already cashed out of a hell of a lot of Palantir, obviously, as we have 8% left. Right now on that play, so we'll look to see what winds up happening. But let's go back over to the desk. Oh no, let's go back over to Neil.
Yes, and introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, Worksport, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off the grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Scan the QR code right there in front of you. Check the link in the description if interested, and get some clean energy action with Worksport.
Yeah.
Speaking of clean energy, everyone always talks about Tesla as being the EV company. Remember, they are about sustainable energy. They're more than just a car company. But right now, they're just a bullish stock. And you're now through 430 and continuing to churn. So, I mean, I've only traded the four names, and really, I mean, Snapchat was very, very quick. It's been Intel, Mara to plan, and then, of course, Palantir. But this is now getting into rarefied air. If it can close out I think the next 15-minute bar above 430 on Tesla, like why not? Why not look for the go on this? Just want to give it some time. I don't like buying at these absolute highs in this particular range. Oh, now we're going.
Go.
All right, so retest. Here comes a retest of the high of the day on Intel. It's gone to this 21.5 only one, well, twice if you include the pre-market, but once since the open, and there was some selling there at the 21.5. Let's see if it can push right through. Feel like if it breaks the trend, cover some, get back in at VWAP. But it was looking a little suspect there off VWAP the last time. I want to see it break out this high, but if we fail the top, I'll get another leg out here on Intel. Mara just took out the high of the day as well, as Bitcoin's now at 104.
Bang.
104.1, 104, yeah, 104.1, somewhere in that range. Now you're trying to get to that $20 level. So see if we can get back into VWAP. Not sure, but we do have a very distinct trend, at least now, on Mara. So looking something like this. If it breaks the trend, get out and go for the VWAP dip buy as well. Jeff Free 69 says Tesla 666. Adrian says Tesla 480.
Let's go.
I'd be very happy with either one of those, but I don't think we're going to see that today. But good luck to anybody. Tesla is a rocket ship today. But what is going on
Rivian going
with some
on.
small caps? Adara?
Rivian Biguan.
IWM, pretty much the definition here of a reversion to the downside. We had this nice trend up here pre-market. Then we get this topping tail candle in the 15-minute chart. Since then, we've basically been on a descent. So bit of a rough look there for the IWM. Lots of small cap runners to talk about, though. GSI Technology, this one is GSIT is the ticker. This one started getting volume a little bit later in the morning. Receiving here a potential contract from the U.S. Army, so it's not been confirmed. Potential contract, apparently, for up to $250,000 under the Department of Defense's Small Business Innovation and Research Program. Then we have SVMH. This is Shrivara. I'm not seeing any news on this, but this name tends to run pretty frequently. They have about a 13% short float there, and they're up about 60%. They've already halted, though, today, so be cautious there with SVMH. And last but not least, we have QRVO. This is Corvo. They're actually not really a small cap. We have about a $7 billion market cap, but they are making a pretty intense move to the upside, so I wanted to spotlight them here. Starboard here, activist investor, reportedly getting involved in QRVO, so keep an eye on this one. Basically at day's highs, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, all right. We're just talking about, we have some stocks don't have quotes on them, like some bank stocks just aren't proper right now. So we'll look at some more names as we go, but just waiting to get some corrections on some of them. So, all right, Google continues to work. Rivian, let's just take some more out. We just took out 3 more times here on Rivian. Great little lock and load there. Again, we went long at 50s. You saw me put this stuff, well, we're long at 55s. So it was 11 cents worth of risk to now make 20s. So again, 2-to-1 right there. We're going to have to start to ring some registers as it's Friday into a long weekend, of course. I just talking to myself out a punch out there. 74s, we'll get some more out right now as we go. My next high, though, is right here at 77. So if it breaks through 75, I wanted to play a little bit of momentum upside there. And then we are waiting at 90 again to see if we can get something going downside or upside at 90 on that play. What I just said downside there is that I'm starting to get more and more out of Google. There we go. We'll take another piece out there at 80s, at 50s, just because not really feeling right now that move. We just see the move down in the futures. We said that Meta was down, Snapchat was down, some of these TikTok tailwinds right now on some of the stocks. So let's just empty out the clip, and I'm glad we talked about that before we threw it everywhere around there, because that was important. Google's been a big trade and a good position for us there so far today. I mean, we waited for it, and you know, sometimes you got to props it up for watching out for VWAP levels. So we get something out right there. We talked about only having 8% left. Now we have 5% left as we got a decent spot right there at 70, 80 on VWAP. So look, you got to get lucky to get some fills, right? I mean, and sitting there at that price, it just happened to get up into that level. So I like the trade there, and we'll see if we can get it going more. And then it's just Rivian back in. It's only 10.22. If there are other names, I mean, Neil and I are ready to go. If you have anything, put them in the chat.
Meta's in a lot of trouble. I see it.
Yeah, and Intel, by the way, just
Tesla
quickly.
reversed.
I want to double check. I still have this break long. I looked at my stop order. This has been in here since the open. It's just we never got it there off the open. It came, as Neil mentioned, really close. So just be careful with that. All right, Google just does fall in right now. One last try right now as Google breaks back down below 194. So one last try in this into that low of the day. We talked about it. We've emptied out the clip, but we're back in. Right now, Google looks like it wants to fall apart and downside right now. As you mentioned, the market in trouble.
Yeah, the market's
and so is Google, and so is Meta, and so are all these names right now.
Tesla made a big turn, but I'll just quickly show you here. I took another leg out on Intel again. Like Sean just mentioned, it wouldn't break the high. Well, it couldn't break the lower high there at 21.4. So push back into the lower high, couldn't break it. I got some out there at 39s. Now you got to really wonder, can we hold on to VWAP? This NASDAQ is starting to, there you go. The NASDAQ pulling right back into VWAP itself. Usually I had that over here and bigger, but whatever. Pulling back into VWAP itself and starting to look a little bit weaker. So got to be a little bit cautious. Still going to hold Mara. And then I mentioned to you guys just now Tesla. That seems like a bit of a reversion in Tesla. So that's a hefty, hefty reversal. Maybe play back into VWAP. I want to look for things that are holding on to VWAP that can show me a little bit of strength. And then this GSIT, is that what? Yeah, GSIT. This is going parabolic. So if the market does reverse down, usually that's when I like pivoting and looking at what is actually strong, because sometimes it's the small caps when the markets are looking weak. GSIT, not that anyone can't see this daily chart, that's about 430. That is about 435. So you've got a pretty hefty level at 435 on the daily chart for GSIT. So if you're already in this one, not a bad place to take profit if there is a pullback off that resistance level on the daily. So let's be patient with. I'd be patient with this. I necessarily wouldn't want to chase this top. The volume looks fantastic. So even on a dip buy, as long as it holds VWAP, I think you got room to make another run to the top.
All right, Google stopped us out. We did the same play as we did on NVIDIA again yesterday. And again, this is why we say about like no one's really, unless you're sort of on a prop firm or have some of this, oh, here we go, I'm going on the wrong stock, have some of these opportunities in and then back out on the failed breakdown again. So this is how I'm managing my positions, and it looks like it's going to work out a little bit here for us as Google tries to bounce back from that little spike downside there into 194. So again, I'm back in it. I hate when those levels break, but it did. I had to get out. We put the stop order in to go back northbound in case that does happen. So looks like that is right now, knock on wood, what is happening. So we'll see if we get back into the 40s and get some more out here on Google. But for now, it's back over to ADARA.
Just be aware here, we do have Meta and Snap that just made a pretty intense drop to the downside, trying to recover. I didn't see any news on that, but just be very cautious the amount of volatility in these social media names as people continue to digest the official now from the Supreme Court ban of TikTok effective January 20th, January 19th, the day before the inauguration, unless there is a sale there. So META and SNAP, extremely volatile, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, Meta, we're out there, Meta buying opportunities in the long term, I think, anytime this one wants to dip. But probably right. The 50 periods, we're a little farther away than I thought from the 50-period moving average. That's at 595. Okay, we're like $10 away from that. I thought that dip was going to get us a little bit closer to the 50, where, I mean, if you look at a moving average or look at any indicator, the first question you should ask yourself is, does the stock I'm looking at respect it? Because who cares what you think about an indicator if the stock doesn't respect it? Well, Meta's been respecting the 50 period on the daily, and especially since this last breakout here in December. Like, it's been bouncing off it either same day or next day. So if we pull back in, like, I don't know if we're going to drop $10 on Meta, but if we drop $10 on Meta, then that's where I'm looking. 50 period on the daily. The market looks like it is heading down. All right, just got to double check. Intel's looking... Yeah, it's going to lose VWAP in here. If we lose 21, I'm out. We've only really bought it a couple times off 21. Didn't like the rebuy off VWAP there, and I don't love it here as well. And then Mara's holding up pretty decently. So I still feel pretty good about this. Another topping tail candle, however, as Bitcoin pulls underneath 104. Yeah, this is that time where it's like I psych myself out, but I'm taking Mara out. When I look at that topping tail candle and pull up the 15-minute, man, that's right in here at 19.8 that you just failed to break. So I'm jumping out of the trade and waiting back in for VWAP. We're looking a little bit more bearish all of a sudden there. So I'm just going to take it out, look to see if we can get back in on VWAP, on MAR. I'm going to bank the profit. Palantir as well, heading to that $70 level again.
Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
it's where we liked it before, but I'm going to take a different strategy. Instead of just at 9:30, I don't mind, like you buy the dip in front of your level. At this time of day, I want a trend reversal entry. So I want it to break the trend and then close above the trend line and then go into the long. Adara?
They figured out what that drop was on Meta and Snap a couple of minutes ago. We just here are seeing some reports that the White House says via a statement that the TikTok should remain available to Americans and that the implementation of the TikTok law must fall to the next administration. So basically, after hearing from the Supreme Court that a TikTok ban should go through, now the White House is actually saying, no, it shouldn't. It should still be available for Americans. They're basically passing this over to the new administration, guys. Back to you.
Well, if they're going to pass over the new administration, I thought Trump has kind of been like he wants to go with TikTok and keep it going. But the story goes back and forth. And I just said to Neil, like, I'm getting frustrated because I don't know what to do with it. Like, I'm sitting here watching Google and I'm trying to think about the storyline. But if the storyline is not going to really be anything that much, then what exactly are we doing here? I'm just still going to play it off that bottom and see what winds up happening there right now. I'm actually going to, I wanted to look back. So we got out some more Rivian there at 65. I don't know. All right, I'm going to cancel this Intel play because I don't want to forget it in there and then it blasts up and then all of a sudden I'm in that name. For shorts, I mean, the market's still underneath VWAP right here. This is the futures. I'm not sure this VWAP is right, but I'm going to double check that actually in a minute. I just thought for weakness, Apple. We looked at Apple weakness yesterday. All right, the last time thing was up here, we didn't get out of enough, but there goes Google right now. Nice back take on GOOGLE right now, upside move, trying to go back into this level. So a good little take there. We did get stopped out, man, and then we put the order in to get long again on strength. So let's go with Google back upside right now as we'll take a bit out there, wait and play, as we like to say it. I think Neil initially maybe came up with it, but Obi's talks about it all the time. We'll wait for that trade on the backside there for Google as we'll get back.
I just stole that from Obi. Like
you stole it from Obi.
Oh,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no cap. Obi said it first. I just annexed that saying. So that's what I like to do.
Good one. I like that saying, man. That's what I was going to say. But sometimes it works. We did it with NVIDIA. And this is the thing about it is that
you should see AMD.
We'll have different different ideas every day. And yesterday, that worked on NVIDIA. So we went right back into it today. With Google, the same strategy, but again, it doesn't work every day. But all right, take some more out here on Google. Let's just go. We're near the high of the day for ourselves. Remember before I said we're at like 70% of our day? We're still right there. We're actually at 65 right now for our day, but it's not, we haven't really made any money in the last 40 minutes maybe because of this. Like we've been holding on to Palantir, which is working. Good dip up. Did you get that? No.
Well, it broke trend and then went 20 cents on the initial candle.
Yeah, I was just saying because we're talking about 70, so it came into 70.15. Like, come on, guy. For me, anyways, I should have had that. And then there goes. Okay, here we go. This is what's happening right now. So we are getting back into the upside on our net right now because Rivian, and oh boy, what a call that was. That's an Obi line. We have to have that graphic. Oh boy, right there. But there's the call on Rivian, man. 1490 long on Rivian and 1450 dip buy opportunities on RIVN. Oh, I still have an offer up there at 14. Oh, no, I don't. That should not have coded as a sell. Okay, as a short sell. But all right, we'll cancel some Rivian offers. Let's go to the upside right now. It's Google as well, giving us 75 cents worth of a win right now. So another 3-to-1 trade here on Google, but still.
Go Google. Well, okay.
It hasn't been good, man. It's like
go Alphabet.
Got stopped out there, so
as it should be. I'm actually just a heads up. Most of my issues are on New York stocks. So I probably if it's .ny, you're probably not going to see me even look at it at least for now, which is good because most of the good stuff's on the Nasdaq anyways. But AMD. Speaking of Nvidia, AMD has a big seller. At least it looks like it has a big seller at VWAP. I know it's up 2%, but you guys can all see what I'm looking at here. That looks like it's on the back end of a trade. Look at the trend on the daily. Hey, what happened to my trend lines on the daily chart? I'll put those back at some point. And then you zoom it out even a little bit further. That's kind of like a big, there we go, a little bit further. It's a big fail. Go back to the 8th. That's a big fail at a 122 level that we've been hugging underneath. I think a pull back into the 120, which has been a key support level, looks pretty good. So I'm looking for a VWAP short. If it bounces here, just want confirmation that these guys in here, 120, 150, are still selling the boat on AMD. Just relatively weak. The other thing to watch is DJT. Don't look now, but DJT is tracking toward the high of the day. Higher lows the whole way through. Obviously, the inauguration is on Monday, so that's somewhat of a catalyst for DJT. But if you look at this here, it looks like a potential breakthrough 43 easily could happen. I'm going to look for some VWAP dip buys on DJTs. It's 9 million volume and looking very, very strong so far. I kind of think it's more of a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, so I can't vouch for this stock next week, but at least today, I think maybe looking some bids off VWAP. Look at what it's doing at 42. Yeah, it looks absolutely fine here on DJT. Palantir has closed above the trend, and I'm sitting on the trend line instead of where it's holding. So it's holding 40s, and I'm sitting at 30, trying to get like a magical fill down here. So prior bar low is prior bar close here. 70.28 is that prior bar close. So we'll throw our stop there, and I have to cancel my 70 stop, which was still in. And then we'll go back into VWAP here for Palantir.
Get the magic beans. Yeah, we took a piece out there on Palantir as well, just ahead of 50. We're still got the same trade as we've always had there right off the open. And the reason why I'm like not super happy about the way today's trading's been going. Look, we'll be green, but it could be a lot more. We got stopped out of Palantir, then we made it back. We got stopped out of Google and just trying to make it back because we fought that short. So it's like stopped out there, fought the short there. Like it's just been one of those days. But we're saving right now. The whole day is being saved by Rivian. Like I never thought I'd say that, but again, we're long in our own accounts down here, like 11 and a quarter. There was much better prices. We've been in this name even before. I feel like it was into this area. This is how long we've been holding it back into the summertime, springtime, and then we had. No, it wasn't that bump up. It must have been back into here. No, 11 and a quarter. Yeah, I feel like it isn't back from here. June, July, summertime, we get that big bump. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's been a while.
Because we got some out. My bad. We got some out at 1850. That's what it was. And we were like, 1750. And we were like, oh, my God, I can't believe that what kind of a good out that was. But then we didn't reload it. So, yeah, good trade back upside there, as many of you have gone long there, Rivian, in and around $10. We've talked to Randy about that a few times, and he likes to trade as well. So those of you that are in that one, good look on Rivian. It's been working out, but even a better look on Tesla, man. I mean, if anybody, I don't know percentage-wise, don't call me out, all you Rivian guys out there as well, but Tesla, good look on Tesla holding that 378 level and now blast off. We had it written down here if we could get long 415 today, would be a level like into yesterday's close, but the market just kind of didn't do much, and Tesla just took off. So I think that was the right play right there, Tesla, bouncing off VWAP at 422. So right now that stock and that story is kind of gone. Google, again, going upside. Palantir, I know Neil reloaded that. That's working. Good couple outs there on here. Why do I keep saying, did Shopify, did they report or something? hold on a second.
No.
I know sorry, I don't mean report. Did something come out with them? A little bit of a drop down. And the reason why, maybe Adara, I don't know if there might be a small story on Shopify. Like it went from 105 and it hasn't been great on a daily, but see the future. All right, nothing on Shopify, says Adara, but the NASDAQ is kind of straight up here and Shopify just dropped down and then it was hitting some scanners. So I was like, okay, relatively weak, I guess, there on Shopify. So watch out for that play. All right, my next out on Google is 195 flat. So let's go, man. Let's see if we can get going up to there. It's been way too many trades on this name, but so far so good, and we'll see if we can get Google upside 190. You know what? I'm going to go to 194.90. I don't really care about 10 cents. I mean, I do, but.
So it was just asked, Sherry just said Apple is running. Come on, babe. Well.
I was going to get into that name.
There we go. Just pulled it up. Yeah, it's absolutely running. And it's back above VWAP. It's still an inside day for Apple. And look, it looks much better if I don't zoom it out any further, then you can see what the damage was yesterday on Apple. So yes, it's making a bit of a run, but it cannot get through this hump here at 232, which is pretty significant because this is where it looked like it was bouncing at about this time yesterday. And then it failed that bounce. It's the biggest green candle it had was right in here at the same time yesterday. And when it failed it, back underneath. So that 232 is a bit of a wall. If it can break out that top, I'm with you. It looks strong, but 1.5% on Apple today isn't as meaningful as it would be on a normal day. So I'd still I still put it as a little bit weak. So very quickly here, I did reload into Intel off the 21 level, kind of underneath VWAP, but holding trend. If we lose 21, I'm jumping out of it. And let's go to Adara at the desk. We've got a special interview.
Ooh.
We do. Today's crypto update will actually be focused on Hive Digital Technologies. We're going to be talking today with its CFO, Darcy Daubaras. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you. How are you, Adara?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's actually a really exciting time for crypto, too. We're back above that 100,000 level, pushing back into that 102,000 and holding that. And we have this incoming administration, which is viewed as pretty bullish here for crypto. Even today, there's some reports that there's going to be executive orders to that effect. So how do you view this new administration and even the new SEC chair as bullish for crypto, specifically for your guys' perspective?
I think it's been great for crypto. It's always good to talk about Bitcoin when it's back over 100,000. And since the new administration has been announced with President-elect Trump coming in, Bitcoin has been on a run. The excitement around the industry has been extremely high. We're hitting these all-time highs right now. And with the pro-friendly cryptocurrency administration coming in, with the new SEC chair being announced, we're feeling there's going to be a lot more clear regulation coming into the industry. And with this clear regulation, what we think it's going to lead to is a lot more investment. You're seeing these kind of ETFs that came in about a year ago. As it becomes a lot more mainstream, it's going to get a lot more attention. And with the attention, it's going to help to boost the economy. It's going to boost the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin companies. And with more attention on it and more clear regulations and less red tape, it's going to lead to better adoption.
So another point here with adoption, actually, that you mentioned I want to touch on here, too, is the fact that we have a lot of these companies here in the corporate space trying to get involved potentially with adding Bitcoin to their holdings. We know that Microsoft actually was in the spotlight there in December. Michael Saylor speaking on that. So do you see corporate as kind of the next frontier with regards to adoption? How do you see that as moving crypto and bringing it more into mainstream for retail traders?
Absolutely. MicroStrategy has been the start of this. And when he was able to actually get some time on some of these large boards when he's trying to talk to the shareholders, it just adds a lot more mainstream to Bitcoin. And the combination of these large companies, whether it's be Tesla or MicroStrategies, have large holdings on their balance sheets. A lot of the cryptocurrency companies like ourselves do also. It just adds that adoption. And as people see more and more companies doing it, it's going to help them strengthen up their balance sheet. And there's been some changes in the US from the Accounting Standards Board in the treatment of that Bitcoin being treated more like the normal assets, so they can show those gains and losses as the price of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies go up and down. And that simplifies the accounting and makes it a lot more understandable for an investor. So I think there's going to be a lot of treasuries out there looking at it for their companies and adding to it as another piece of their asset portfolio.
It's a really great way of putting it, just thinking of it as a general investment there, asset. Thank you so much here today, Darcy Daubaras, CFO of Hive Digital Technologies, for being here with us. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you very much, Darcy. And that's Hive, H-I-V-E, over there on the NASDAQ, everybody. And if you see what's going on in crypto, I know you've got to be a little bit excited, especially from a trading perspective. I mean, we'll look at IBIT to track the market just to show you guys, but you're holding some of these highs. I mean, you're trend up the entire way. If we can just come to the chart for a quick second, you're trend up the entire way here on IBIT, holding 59. That's 104. We're essentially at 104 right now on BTC, and the buyers are sustaining. Like, the volume's still very good, and the buyers are sustaining. We haven't broken the top just yet. Obviously, when I saw us not breaking the high, you know what happened over there in Mara. Bitcoin stopped going, and Mara pulls back. Now it's got a program going on it. It is now squeeze territory on Mara. There's no question about it. This is going into a bit of a squeeze, so definitely some strength in it. I probably jumped out of it way too early, probably is an obvious understatement there. So sometimes you got to slap the fail, even when it's a winning trade, you got to slap the fail on it. Because I saw Bitcoin not going, and I decided to jump out. And obviously that was the wrong decision. We got the first available dip buy in DJT, and just very simply, look what happened in the afternoon DJT at 3:30. It pulled into 42.6 and then dumped $3. So today, it breaks that same price and pulls back into 42.6. But it could not hold on to 43. So immediately, like see that wick that you have, a bit of a rejection, and then couldn't hold 43. So on the break, I got out 80s and 43 even. Only going to hold this to 42.40, but instant scalp trade when I see it failing that 43. And if we get out, maybe look for a VWAP or trade. So that was the newest position that we put on. And then Palantir, there you go. Now holding above VWAP in here. We did get that reload when it broke the trend line and then put in the higher low. Tried to add to it, didn't really get the fill. Mistake was trying to add at 70.30 when really all you could get was 70.40. So I probably don't need a bid there anymore. Let's see if we can get to that 71 even, where there's been a boatload of selling on Palantir, no question about it. All of these wicks, this looks like you have a bunch of bad dark pool wicks up here, but this was actually what Palantir was doing. Like it was breaking 70.90 and then just it could not hold above 71 for more than a few seconds and then would pull back into VWAP. So clearly there's some sellers there that we're going to want to respect on Palantir. Tam Panda, can you please describe the characteristics that make Mara a buy program? Apple was clear, but I'm not sure about Mara. So really, I'm speculating, but here's what I will say is this. There's a lot of traders that will look at things like an obvious trend line, right? So, and I know you see me do this. Like I see you make a double bottom, you hold VWAP, and then look at the trend line. The second this broke the trend line, it had distinctly different behavior. Like it trailed out anybody that was on that trend. I know I'm drawing it a little bit underneath, like if you connect the bars to a little bit higher, but suffice to say that the second it tripped that trend line, distinctly different behavior, and look at it now versus before. That's why I'm calling it program buying. Because once it stopped out kind of a normal trend trader's trailing stop or whatever you want to call it, it looked very, very different. So there you go, is now Mara up 11% and continuing to fly. But again, like I'm not saying I know that there's a buy program on it. I just think it kind of speaks for itself.
All right, we'll do a little bit of, great question. I mean, that's what we're trying to find out every single day is patterns and what it's looking like right there. But we got a pattern right here on Google, and it's another club right there. It's Joe getting ready for some clubbing this weekend, I feel like. But right there, a nice move to the upside on Google. Again, Joe, the Leafs got saved yesterday, my guy, in overtime, man. They should have played a little bit better than that one.
Yep.
As we go. Joe saw some highlights of my daughter, so he was looking at some hockey clips there. He's liking those, so thanks, Joe, for the analysis on that one. Okay, so there it is. Google, man, we did it. We bought the bottom again. We got it going back there to that upside, and oh boy, was Palantir a good trade as well. We were able to get VWAP there. We waited for 71s. That goes as high as 70, 90. And then again, as we were going there with the interview, great job by Adara again, and thanks to have Hive come through, and thanks to Adara for doing that. Up to 1480 in change right now. Good out there on Rivian, man. I mean, our outs here, guys, was 11 cents. So we'll take 30x on that one and wait to see if it does print out even more for us. I'm done getting out of Google. We'll go to the gym. Today is some weights, Sharif. So, we can wear polos there like Sharif does. And then we will be ready to rock and roll here for you into the close, which, there he is. What's up, Sharif? He's getting ready to go. What are you guys doing today? Okay, more MACD, perfect. So just a little bit of a topper onto what they've been doing all week today, Friday. And then, put some questions in the chat for us, for them.
I was always more of a Daddy Mac guy. The Mac Daddy, the Daddy Mac.
One will make you jump,
Yeah, but the Daddy Mac had better flow, in my humble opinion.
But Chris Cross will make you
jump.
Right, so that's the thing. Believe that.
Some of them try to rhyme, but they can't rhyme like this.
Go, Adara, go.
I guarantee you, Adara can drop that for sure. You gotta
try to rhyme, but they can't rhyme like this.
Cause I'm the miggity Mac Daddy. Cause I'm the miggity Mac. I make you wanna, and then By the way, we should have shown this chart. This is apologies to myself here. Bitcoin's rallying.
Bitcoin is monstrous.
Hive is having no troubles either, by the way.
Get it, Bitcoin.
7% to the upside. And I know, look, man, CEOs don't want to talk up their own stock because they can be humble about it.
Taking a whole new meaning.
No, but obviously this one's a very, very strong name. I'm just going to go back over to, obviously what we're in. DJT So it's bouncing off that 42.6 again, but lower highs. So topping tail candle and some lower highs that I think we're going to have to respect here. And then let me just go back over to Intel. We did one reload at VWAP and it broke the bottom. So I'm not completely convinced, but I think we're on the back end of this one at this point. Maybe you can hold like a 2050, maybe you can hold a 2080, but we'll just sort of take the early profits and run with Intel underneath VWAP, market over VWAP. There's no follow-up to that rumor or anything. It's not like anyone's come out and said they're interested in buying them, and the volume's starting to dry up a little bit there on Intel as well. Palantir now starting to hold into VWAP. I feel like it loses this cluster under VWAP, get out and wait for 70 again, or at least a break of trend one more time. So Palantir still looking good as far as I'm concerned. This one's been working pretty much the majority of the morning. I would be a little bit cautious about like Tesla here. It is pulling the VWAP nicely, but that's a hefty downward trend. And I don't know, like AMD, I keep thinking AMD is going to give you this push back into VWAP. Look at how obvious the selling was at VWAP. And look at it just hold the line for the last 25 minutes at 121. Like it just doesn't want to press above this. Like the barcoding that's going on in this stock it's just kind of weird. I keep thinking it should. Usually when you do this, you're going to press into VWAP. You get gravity back towards VWAP when you're going sideways. But it's just not happening here. So I might nibble in if we can't get like some 121.20s and maybe take a little bit less because you want to be able to give it into VWAP. But some weird price action here, as it could be accumulation, but the stock's under VWAP, so I'll play that direction.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's just, again, looking at some technical analysis, looking at some macro things. You always want to trade things with catalysts and so on and so forth. I'm going to take out another piece of Google here. I don't know if it's going to go. I don't really see a catalyst for Palantir too much today, but there's a huge nether move right into $70 as the market, it hasn't done much all morning. We had that dip down there early, now a barcode, now we start to go a little bit higher. We said we wouldn't get any more out of Google, but I lied. We got some out there again right here on the 200 period. Now I really don't have any more offers out on Google. Let's see if we can get back to VWAP. I mean, we were up here earlier. If the market actually takes off, which I think it does, I would... Like today, the Playmaker poll, if it's not long today, then honestly, I don't know.
Always long.
Exactly. Like if it changes up somehow today, I don't know. I like the long. I like everything we're talking about heading into inauguration. No other day you're going to get an opportunity to go long now, right? The market's going to open up there on Tuesday. I think a little higher. We'll hear what this talk is. The cryptocurrency reserve is going to be a thing as well. 104, we see that one continuing to go higher. There goes Google. Now more than $1 in the money now on Google as it continues to go. So we have back-to-back jacks right now. It's also a Dollar Club member here on Palantir as that one goes high side right now. I don't have any offers on any of these names right now. We just took some more out on Rivian right there on the 50. We will take some more out at the 200 period moving average. Then after that, we let these things ride, guys. So I'm going to offer out something at 83 and then we're gone on all of this. Hopefully we'll come back and not be upset. All of our stops are at the same areas that we've always talked about. Google has to move down a lot to get stopped out. Rivian into the 40s. So far, so good here on all of these reloads. DraftKings in what should be a big weekend here. Neil and I and a couple friends are going out Sunday night, and we're going to hit the town. We're going to paint it blue, hopefully.
Blue and red, baby.
Are you down?
No, we're going to Kingtown.
Okay, Joe.
Yeah, we'll be at Kingtown. Yeah, we'll be at Kingtown.
Yeah, man. There's only one of them, my guy. Don't worry about it.
Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit nervous for that game. The Baltimore Ravens are a ridiculously good team. So
they're favored. I mean, it's going to be the weekend, the game of the weekend.
I love my Bills, and I'll rep my Bills, but I'll tell you, it's going to be an absolute battle, and hopefully the boys can come out on top. Let's go up to the desk. It should be Money Talks.
It is.
It's like, huh?
It's Money Talks.
Combined here, we're going to be doing Money Talks and Sector Watch just due to the fact that we had to push back some of these segments. We're going to start here with Money Talks, though, and it's actually the first green day. That's right, the first green day for the U.S. dollar this week. Though we have some clear resistance here for the last 3 days around that 109.4 area, currently trading around 109, even just above 109. So keep an eye here on the U.S. dollar with that in mind. Also here, it's worth noting, we got, for the first time this week, really a lot of stronger than expected economic data. Every print we got today, stronger than expected. That includes the industrial production prints that we got at 9:15. Then at 8:30, we had building permits above expectations, housing starts above expectations. I really want to note here, housing starts here, month over month change. This came in at up 15.8% versus 3% expected. So much stronger than expected. Could be the reason we have this one green candle this week in that area. Now we have to look at the sector board, which, speaking of green, is entirely green. Lots of strength in electronic technology, lots of strength in consumer durables, retail trade, technology services, finance, consumer services, producer manufacturing, very strong as well. Health services, too. UNH actually making quite the bounce after its earnings, so that's bringing up this sector. But health technology a little bit weaker. Eli Lilly here, potentially trading to the downside in sympathy with Novo Nordisk, which did actually report weaker results than Eli Lilly, interestingly enough, when it came to their Zepbound study. So keep an eye here on some of these weight loss related names. Everything else, though, pretty strong, guys. Back to you.
All right, we'll have a quick look at all of that very, very soon. For you, only 7 minutes left, and then we go over to MacD's coming through with the big guys on the big desk one more time here in the afternoon. Then Neil and I will be back at 2 p.m. So, yeah, you know, again, just looking at some of these other names, SMCI, you know what we haven't looked at yet? I'm going to look at some quantum names in just a second. Let me see what SMCI is doing just real quickly. I saw some of that in the chat. Yeah, down to 31. Okay, so nice barcode there yesterday after market, and then finds that support back in at 31 again, and now today up 1.7%. All the plays are going to look like they want to break out. I don't know. Like, I'm already long, and every name that we're long, like we're dollar in the money on Palantir, dollar on Google, and it's just like, I feel like that bottom might be in. I don't know how much exuberance there's going to be into the afternoon. I just think long. I just don't know how much off of such a big. I should find out. Maybe I can ask Adair. I could probably just look at it myself. But what percent are we up this week right now? Because I wonder what we'll end at. I feel pretty positive heading into the close there today. The other name I wanted to look at. I want to look at Uber to see what the retracement back for that level's been today, because red on the day is Uber. So holding out $68. If there's going to be a short, it may indeed be this one. Uber not getting going there today. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good level there, 68.80, 68.50 even right now. Good level to be short Uber, not treating the market or not following the market today. Market up 0.8, Uber down right now 0.5%. So I think if you're going to find a short place, it's going to be right there. We got a great fill. I'm going to take another one right now at 14s if we can get it on Google. So there it goes as it rips through me. But there it goes, a couple more outs there on Google. And this is how you win. Honestly, it's you go long there at 03, 04, you get out when it breaks through 80s there, and I think we got a 78 or so fill. So that's, again, 20 cents worth of a shot. It sucks to get hit there, 100p, but then you buy it back, and there it goes right back there into the upside. And there it is, man. As of right now, with a couple minutes left, we hit our goal, but it's still not our best day by far here so far. So we'll wait on it. Google's in the picture. We're still waiting on this stock. Like, we haven't traded it that well. We'll be flat on the stock, depending if it comes back to the upside. Palantir, we're big time green on Palantir and big time green on Rivian. So obviously we don't have any losing trades there. The Palantir, we did the same thing though, Neil. It broke and then we just got right back in on the break back through $70. So really pay dirt right now for Palantir. The number one P&L name, Rivian, then Palantir. So I don't know what your top stocks are, but those are mine over here.
Yeah, the only one that didn't work was Snap, but you know, those ultimately, I think everything off that TikTok news was kind of messy around the news, so it is what it is. Probably shouldn't have jumped to it, but you like the news-based plays. You're always in here for volatility. Palantir going to be the best one because obviously I got out of Mara early. I mean, Mara is now up 13%, but Palantir, if we get into it based on the trend reversal, like again, just at the open, buy the dip off the level. But later than that, going to give it that trend break entry and then the trend break exit. Let's see it carry through the high of the day and then just hold on to Palantir, not put any limitations on it. But obviously, you guys can see what's going on with Mara. That is Mara. Remember when I was like, it just looks like program buying? This is kind of the opposite of the Apple chart yesterday, where there's no red candles since it curled. There were no green candles on Apple, and that's exactly what you're seeing. I do have one trade in AMD to the short side. Like you can see, it's just barcoding. This is 121. I mean, there's wicks to 19, but the effective top is more like 10s here on AMD. And then you've got a little bit of a bottom here at 120.80. So it's just going sideways while the market's bouncing. I want to short the top end of the range and then scalp out the bottom. And if we fall apart, AMD looks relatively weak. to me. So that's the one I want to have a look at. What's crazy about that Mara move is if you look at Bitcoin, like this is what Bitcoin is doing right now, which is a whole lot of nothing at 104K. So to see Riot, Mara, I don't know if Riot's quite this good.
Wow.
Then obviously this is going to set up a trend reversal, assuming you don't get a breakout in BTC. If we don't break out in BTC and hold underneath 104, then I'd look for a trend reversal there on Mara. But so far, so good. Hasn't really been too many missteps today. Intel's was really good this morning off of the open. Just to give you the last one, it's now trying to get back above VWAP. So it's trying to resume the trend from earlier. Gave you a couple of easy, like 2-3 pointers. But now you're looking to get that trend back going on INT.
Guys, what are we even, good call on that one. What are we even doing right now? There's DJ Khaled and back in the building right now. 40 cents in the money on Rivian, 50 cents in the $1.50 on Palantir, $1.50 on Google. $1 on Palantir, $1.50 on Google. What's up, Adara?
Pepsi and Walmart on watch here. The FTC filing a lawsuit against Pepsi, alleging that they have some price discrimination favoring Walmart. So it is worth noting here, too, the FTC, because this administration is going to be, of course, changing hands. We've had FTC suits every day over the last 3 days. We had Southwest getting hit by one back on Tuesday, the Snapchat getting hit yesterday, today Pepsi. So keep an eye here on PEP and WMT. Back to you.
Okay, some good looks there if you're looking other than tech names right here, right now. But we've been really fortunate today to sort of pick up some of these levels. Look what just happened on Rivian right there, up through 15. We're going to take some more out right now. We're a little late on this, but make sure you do scan that QR code below and on your bottom right screen to get into e-signal. We talk about back testing. I mean, you don't just come up with these strategies out of nowhere, right? You got to back test them. So find the best tick replay in the business with e-signal. Look at all those apps. Go over to the App Store, download it, connect your broker immediately with e-signal. Again, I love it for the screeners. I'm constantly showing you guys some of those as they hit. Easy to reload. Wow, SMR up 12%. And e-signal, again, will scan all of that. You can scan nuclear names. You could do whatever you want. All of that as we go. I just text my buddy again because, hey, man, this is my same guy that me and him, we've been trading SMR together. We were trading Rigetti together. And I was just like, bro, Sharif goes, SMR is going. I'm like, okay, I just pick up the phone. I'm like, bro, SMR. But there it goes. Nice move to the upside there as SMR continues to play the long game, man. We're in this name at $11 in change. SMR continues to work. New scale. Shout out to Brian Shannon. Shout out to Michael Noss and everybody on that one because we had talked about this name over and over and over again. But the one trade that continues to be pretty much my trade. I mean, we've only been talking about Google about 1 million times here today. There goes Google, Neil. Yes, sir. Huge move now back up to the upside for GOOGLE and Alphabet. So there it goes, man. Google, beautiful. Nice retracement upside. Rivian making them sing. I mean, this is 50 cents on our posted levels right there. So we're trading off of what we post. Join me every single day. It's 11 o'clock. Neil, wrap this thing up. What a big day.
Yeah, thank you very much and appreciate all the love in the chat. We got a few super chats that we missed out on. So shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you. Mr. Westermeyer, yeah, we'll think of something. Jack, appreciate the super chat. And we had Drucifer as well. So shout out to both of you.
Drucifer, what's up, Drucifer?
Yeah, Drucifer sent a super chat, and Jack as well. But and we had RXRX. We had Bobby Winggood also asking about RXRX. That's something we'll have to try to get to in the afternoon, or maybe even just ask the midday guys about that. I'm sure they wouldn't mind talking about it. But Mr. Westermeyer, yes, if the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs meet in the AFC Championship game, of course I'm willing to do some kind of bet. You think of what will be fun. I'll try to think of some ideas as well, but obviously I'm willing to do something. Well, I'm going to rep my team every single chance we get. So let's go over to the midday. We've got the professor. We've got Joey options. We'll be back at 2. He says...
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade during the midday. That is your boy